day it is, huh? Hump day!
Good morning, everyone, and happy hump day from the opening drive on 101 ESPN in St. Louis. We're at 7 o'clock. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke Grimsley was supposed to return today. She is out sick. She apparently did not feel too well on her honeymoon, so hopefully Brooke will be back with us tomorrow. Danny Mac, Matthew Rocci, Randy Carricker, great to have you with us. How are you doing, kids?
Doing well. Sad with the news of the passing of Willie Mays as that hit late last night. I guess probably around, 8, 9 o'clock, and even the NHL Finals talked about it. But sad day for baseball. He was 93 years old, lived a great life, but certainly a sad day for baseball.
Especially with the fact that his presence was to be celebrated tomorrow night as the Cardinals and Giants, of all teams, play at Rickwood Field. And it was kind of alarming when we found out earlier on, I guess it was Sunday, that he wasn't going to be at Rickwood Field. And you kind of worry about somebody who's 93 years old. But one of the all-time greats, a lot of people, Jack Buck always said that with all due deference to Stan Musial, that Willie Mays was the best player that he ever saw. I didn't get to see Willie Mays in his prime, but the numbers sure lead you to believe that you can make a case for him being the best all-around player ever, with his ability in center field, with his, being one of three players with a 300 career average, 3,000 hits, and 500 home runs.
It's incredible. I went back into Stan's autobiography last night to see what he had to say about Willie Mays, and he said, quote, "Willie ranks with Joe DiMaggio as the best I ever saw. He's a perfect ball player. Mays can beat you at a ball club with his bat, glove, arm, and legs. The guy plays with a contagious enthusiasm. If that comes from Stan, that's good enough for me."
And I hadn't put it in perspective because Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in 47. I didn't realize that Mays was only the 10th black player in Major League history.
Pretty amazing. I had a chance to meet Willie Mays a couple of times. You ever meet him?
I met him once, yeah.
Did you shake his hand?
Yeah, he had big paws.
Oh, it was unbelievable. I still say it's the biggest hand that I've ever shook hands with. And I remember talking to Tim McCarver, and I said, you know, what makes you, now this is kind of a weird story. I said, what do you think of, well, it's shocking with Tim, right? I said, what do you think about when you think about Willie Mays? He said, manicured fingernails. Huh. And I said, you're kidding me. He said he had the biggest mitts you'd ever see, you know, holding the bat. He said, but he had these beautiful fingernails. And so I always remembered that. We got to San Francisco, and he says to me, you want to go say hi to Willie? I said, Willie Mays? He said, yeah. I mean, because Willie McCovey was right down, like 2 boxes down from us, and we went and talked to him as well, and Gaylord Perry would come around the ballpark. Certainly Cepeda would be there. And I said, man, yeah, I'd love to go meet him. This would be the chance of a lifetime. And he would go in a room that was next to the clubhouse and would have dinner. Dinner would be there for him, and he had terrible eyesight, basically was blind. But the first thing he said, McCarver, is that you? He knew his voice from just listening to Tim all those years, and obviously those two were friends, and just having the chance to meet Willie Mays is one of the most favorite memories I have in baseball, is just being able to sit there and talk and take a picture and have a ball signed by Willie Mays.
That's pretty awesome. The Say Hey Kid passing away at 93.
And I should say, by the way, his fingernails were perfectly manicured.
Were they?
Yeah,
that's
perfectly.
Great. He was something. The Cardinals will wrap up their series in Miami today with a day game against the Marlins. It's actually a morning game. Last night, the Marlins came back and beat the Cardinals by a score of 9-8 after the Cardinals had a 7-4 lead, and there were a lot of things that conspired to cause the Cardinals to lose the game. One of the things, and I know Lance Lynn is a back of the rotation guy at this stage of his career, and the Cardinals and Ollie, I give them credit for allowing him to give them innings, even though he allowed 10 base hits and he allowed 5 earned runs, 6 hits, didn't walk anybody, and that's a key, and struck out 5. But it was just not a night when, and the Cardinals did hit their starting pitcher around. It was just not a good night for Lance Lynn. But the real cruncher in the game came when Chris Roycroft, the big right-handed pitcher, failed to cover first.
That's the game, isn't it? I mean, you know, you look at the situations, and you're right. There were 4 blown leads by the Cardinals in that game, and if he covers first, it's a different ending, probably. But Lynn goes 5 1/3 after a shaky start, and they needed innings. I think he was going to have to wear it anyway because not Rycroft, but Kittredge was down, Romero was down, Ryan Helsley was down, so they were limited in their bullpen. They really needed innings, whether it was a rocky start or if he was a guy that was, you know, on his game. And it was it was okay, Randy, as you said. It's kind of what it is with Lance. He gave you 5 1/3, mixed in 5 strikeouts, but they needed innings. They got they squeezed about as much as they could out of him, and then the bullpen was there. But it goes back to where I've been talking about this for a long time, and I don't know if you're in agreement with it, but looking at a frontline starter, if you're going to tweak with this roster, it would be my first choice. But then secondarily is finding more bullpen help. You're just going to need more arms. And I'm not saying Rycroft isn't a guy that can't help. I think he can. He's just got to cover first base. But I think that they also need some reinforcements along the way because they've just run those big 3 into the ground.
And it's hard to trust anybody that's coming back, right? It's whether you put Matz in the bullpen or Gallegos and you don't know what Riley O'Brien is. The point here is that you'd like to get somebody that you feel a little bit more trust in.
And my understanding is Steven Matz had another setback, too, in his rehab, so he's going to go see a specialist again, and that's not good news. I think I'm correct with that, and in talking with some people, they thought that they may have to do that, but that's not official yet. We'll have to see if that is the direction that they have to go, but if that is the way that they have to go, then that's not helpful as well.
And so the Cardinals will send Kyle Gibson back off the bereavement list today. He'll go against Yanni Chirinos of the Marlins. By the way, let's give some credit where credit is due to the Cardinal offense last night because they did put 9 up on the board. As we mentioned, they knocked their starter around. I always forget Munoz's first name. Roderi Munoz. The Cardinals were able to get to him. A couple of home runs. Goldie with a home run. Donovan with a home run. So the Cardinals got some good things out of their offense. They just weren't able to get the biggest thing at the end.
Yeah, the one guy I'm a little concerned about right now, but I think you have to just live with it, is Nolan Gorman.
Yeah, it is what it is, I think, with him.
He went 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. He's now hitting .201. Since his last home run, which was Thursday against the Pirates, he's gone 1 for 27 with 14 strikeouts. So you either get him hot or he's going to be really cold. It doesn't seem to be a lot of in between when you look at Nolan Gorman, and I think that's just the way maybe here early in his career that's the way it's going to be. He's either really hot and you ride it out, or he's going to be really cold and you ride that out too and wait till he gets hot again.
And Dan, it might be baseball circa 2024 and beyond.
Absolutely. I mean, you talk about it all the time. Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah, and players don't care about strikeouts. That's the big thing. And if you don't care about strikeouts and don't put the ball in play, you're much more likely to go into a 1 for 27 than if you're putting the ball in play a little bit.
It just hurts.
Yeah.
It just becomes a black hole in your lineup. But I'm with you. This is baseball in 2024. Power game, strikeouts, and lots of them. Lots of them. I mean, that's just the way it goes. But you'll take those with the home runs, too.
And by the way, over the last 7 days, Gorman is 0.74. But even in the last 2 weeks, 151 with a 386 OPS. Not exactly Willie Mays-esque.
No, not quite. By the way, have you looked at some of the numbers with Willie Mays? I know you dive into the numbers.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. Is he the greatest player ever?
All around. You just mentioned Stan Musial. Jack Buck always said he was the best player ever. I don't think there's been, all due respect to Barry Bonds and Albert and Cabrera, an all-around player that presented Gold Glove defense every single day of his prime. Hit for power, run, field throw. I mean, he was the 5-tool player, but then used all 5 tools at an exceedingly high level. Hard to imagine that somebody could have been better, as Tony would have said, tied for first.
DiMaggio kind of moved very gracefully in center field by all accounts and what you read about. They say Willie Mays just got to everything, absolutely got to everything. What's interesting about his career, he started 1 for 26, and the one hit, his first hit in the big leagues, was a home run off of Warren Spahn. Yeah. Not a bad way to start.
And people in New York wanted to send him down, wanted to send him back to the minors. His manager said, look, you aren't going anywhere. And he wound up being Willie Mays.
And he even said, I can't hit a major league curveball. When he first got to the big leagues, he said, I shouldn't be here. And they said, no, you are going to be here. And we want you here because we want your glove and we want your legs in the lineup. And that's why he stayed for a long time and became arguably the best player that's ever played this game.
And a couple of notes, Dan. Number 1, he led the league in homers 4 times and led the league in stolen bases 4 times.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing.
During his career, We all know about the 660 home runs. He also stole 339 bases in his career.
It's just incredible. The numbers are amazing.
Pretty incredible. Here's the other part. He only played 34 games as he took off for military service in 1952 and then didn't play at all in 53. And he was at that 40 home run a year pace by that point. If he doesn't leave for the military, he finished with 660. He clears 700 home runs.
Clears 700 for sure. I always wonder about the numbers of those that served our country. I mean, Ted Williams had 2 different tours. You know, so you think about what he would look like offensively with some of the numbers. So when you compare the modern-day player to those that played in that era, it's kind of unfair because they missed so much significant time. And then think about trying to come back after you've served our country and you haven't picked up a bat in – who knows, years, months, and all of a sudden you got to get yourself ready to play Major League Baseball and pick up right where you left off. That, to me, is more amazing maybe than the numbers that they would put up when they came back. I mean, you take that kind of time off and be able to compete at that level, that's incredible in my mind.
Mays, by the way, with a 557 career slug, that's only 21st all-time.
That surprises me.
Yeah.
That surprises me.
Ruth first with the iconic 690, and then Williams at 634. There was a time, and I think it's changed with the steroid era and beyond, where there had only been like 690 slugging percentage seasons all time, and aside from Babe Ruth, that weren't Babe Ruth 690s, and then he had the career 690.
I still say this, for me, the best I never saw Willie Mays. I never saw Ted Williams play. I didn't see, some of these great, I didn't see DiMaggio. We can only go on accounts of others that saw them and wrote about it and so forth and so on. But the best right-handed hitter I've ever seen is Albert Pujols. But then you start looking at what he did, and it's tough because the eras are different. Like when you think about Pujols and the advent of a split finger, the advent of a specialized bullpen, more Latin American players are in the game at that time. I think maybe it makes it a little bit different for him and harder. But then I come back and I say, I don't know if these guys know how to pitch. Where guys back then, I think, really knew how to pitch.
And I wonder if we really dig deep and took Albert's best season and Miguel Cabrera's best season. I think because we didn't see much of Cabrera, we tend to forget that those two are basically mirror images of each other.
Absolutely. I was shocked. You had the stat, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm going to put you on the spot. The Miguel Cabrera stat, he's one of 3.
3 players in history have 3,000 hits, 500 homers, and a 300 career average.
It's incredible, man.
Mays, Aaron, and Cabrera.
And I was thinking of all these different guys, and I knew it wasn't Bonds. I was thinking, well, Stan, no, he had 475 home runs. The last guy I was thinking about was Miguel Cabrera. And I should have been thinking about him right off the top of my head.
Right, and Albert finished at something like 297 for his career batting average, right? 298 maybe?
Yeah, I remember he went under 300 at the very back end of maybe like his second to last year or something like that.
He was hitting 328 when he went to Anaheim for his career.
That's right. And then, well, the one thing too about Pujols, his first few years in Anaheim were really good.
They were really good, yeah.
Just no one really talks about it because the team went nowhere.
If his name hadn't been Albert Pujols, if it was Joe Smith hitting 40 homers and driving in 100 and hitting 275, people would, wow, what a good year. But because it was Albert Pujols against previous Albert Pujols, they said, oh, he's having a bad year.
Who's the best right-handed hitter you've seen?
Well, it's Albert.
It's got to be, right?
Because we saw it every day, and it was just unbelievable. And the other thing that we know, and you don't see this, and you got to figure Cabrera was like this, but every time the Cardinals, it seems like, needed Albert Pujols to come through, he did.
That's the thing that I was going to say. His ability to rise to the occasion, and it just seemed like he never failed. And I know he did. There was plenty of times he did, but man, the times that he didn't just stand out more than anything for me.
Okay, no, don't text in and say there's only one the man. I'm not saying he's the man. I'm using this as a description, not a term. But when you are the man for 3 World Series teams, and Miguel Cabrera wasn't that. He wasn't the man for a couple of World Championships. You're hitting in the playoffs against the best pitching, and he was the guy. And
Yeah.
that's why were the Cardinals great between 2001 and 2011? Because they had that guy all the time.
And he was there for a generation.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other thing is he was a
Yeah.
generational type player and did it all the way, literally did it all the way to the end.
Yeah.
He obviously was rejuvenated when he got to St. Louis and did it all the way to the end, which is just amazing in its own right, too.
Stanley Cup final last night. Edmonton drags the Panthers back to Alberta with a 5-3 win. You know, if I'm going to, if I'm the NHL, I'm going to build this whole marketing thing. Okay, we've got Game 6. Your chance to see Connor McDavid. You can still see Connor McDavid this season. Connor McDavid is having maybe the best postseason in the history of
He's breaking
hockey.
Gretzky records.
Yeah, right. And you've got to tell people about your stars.
Yeah.
So if I'm ESPN and ABC, I'm all over promoting the daylights out of Connor McDavid.
What was it, a 4-point night, I think, last night? By the way, and I know it's an open net, but how about the effort from Tkachuk?
Tkachuk, unbelievable.
He saves an open net goal, diving fully stretched out with his stick and saves it from going into the open net. And you can see the reaction of McDavid, like, really?
Yeah.
You know, but it just shows the kind of player that he is.
And Matthew is not healthy.
I wonder about it.
Yeah.
I got to wonder about it. He had a factor. He was a factor in the game last night, but had been quiet prior to that.
But there's just something that he's not able to. He was really invisible for a long time in the game.
Yeah.
And I think Maurice is protecting him. I think Paul Maurice is not giving him minutes because there's something there. We see it all the time in hockey. I mean, go back to Shenner with the broken ribs and the torn oblique and still playing.
I find myself, when McDavid is on the ice, just solely focused on him.
If you don't, you should.
How he back checks, the hustle that he puts in, how fast he skates. He's the perfect player right now.
Unbelievable.
He really is.
I kind of hope, and I want Matthew to win his first too, but I would hate for Connor McDavid to go through a career and not win.
I want to see a Game 7.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I want to see a Game 7, and you know Friday night in Edmonton, that place is going to be bonkers. It's going to be great. I've been there so many times, Randy, and their fans are rabid fans, and it'll be great.
St. Louis City SC hosts Colorado tonight at 7:30 over at City Park. City made two moves yesterday. They traded AZ Jackson to Columbus for $650,000 with a $900,000 potential in the general allocation money.
Yes, it's $650 off the bat, but it has potential with incentives, probably playing time, goals, those kind of thing, matches played, bars to hit, that it can get up to $900,000.
And then they agreed to a transfer of linebacker Nicholas Dyer to Danish Superliga side Randers FC for a reported what?
Left back.
Oh, it was not linebacker. Okay, left back. Nicholas Dyer. I knew it was a left back. To Danish Superliga.
How long has he been
side
playing that?
Randers FC. About a week back. for reported $400,000 plus a few
Getting in the
add-ons.
swing of things.
There you go. So there you're off and running here on 101 ESPN. Coming up, it is Hump Day. It is Ask Uncle Randy Day. The hot weather is here. You enjoying the hot weather, kids? You got any questions about as we approach the really hot weather, how you're supposed to handle things like people that are cranky because it's hot outside? Ask Uncle Randy. 314-399-9646. 314-399. Yo-ho! Ask Uncle Randy.
Yo-ho.
There it is. From
Yes,
Dan.
sir.
Ask Uncle Randy next on 101 ESPN.
answers. Text 314-399-9646. It's Ask Uncle Randy on 101 ESPN.
I've been around, you know.
All right, it's time for Ask Uncle Randy. Get your text in. Matthew's got your queries of Ask Uncle Randy today here on the opening drive. Matthew, what do you got for us today?
Somebody says, Dear Uncle Randy, do you ever watch the Dozen Trivia League? It's a Barstool Sports put it on. I feel like you'd really like it.
I have never seen it, never heard of it until now. What is it?
It's they do a trivia thing on Twitter with all these different teams. Here's the thing, though. It's not only sports trivia.
Okay, well, then I'm screwed. Would I like it? Probably not.
Oh, I think you would.
Really?
Yeah, I think you would.
Okay.
It dives a little bit into sports too.
Okay.
Oh, there's a lot of sports questions, but they'll branch off and hit a couple like random stuff here and there.
I don't I'd be terrible at Jeopardy.
Yeah, Randy doesn't like the random questions.
I don't think anything about books or art.
I think you'd be great at
What
Jeopardy,
about
honestly.
geography?
No, geography would be bad.
You don't give
ones are
yourself enough
Really
credit.
bad. Really bad at geography.
Geography ones are fun.
Yeah. So, like, if you ask me, like, what country is between Lithuania and Croatia, I couldn't tell you. I don't even know. I don't even know if they're close. I don't even know if they're proximate.
There's a couple countries.
Okay, good.
There's a couple
See, there
countries
we go.
between Lithuania and Croatia, Randy.
That's my
we go.
geography knowledge. There you go.
I'm going to go with Poland as an answer. Uncle Randy, Monday I started a new position with my company, and one of my old bosses won't stop bothering me. How do I tell her politely that it's not my problem anymore?
I think that the most salient point to make here is that it's not your problem anymore. And if there are issues, say, hey, I would love to help you, but I'm not even there anymore. And so you need to go to somebody else. I love talking to you, but sorry, I can't help you here.
You just got to cut the cord.
Yeah.
Just tell them that's enough.
Yeah.
Or just block them on your phone.
Well, no, because it's Monday, right? Monday, we're only a couple days ago that we started the new position, right?
I mean, he might not have started this week. He might have started like a week or 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Whatever happened to that 10 p.m. guy?
Jesus, here we go.
Yeah.
I hope he texts me again. How's the ultimatum going?
So anyway, is it your old boss or just an old coworker that's got issues?
Old boss.
Okay. I would just say, hey, I'd love to be able to help you, but I got my own problems over here, and I'm sorry, I cannot.
Fair enough. Dear Uncle Randy, my kids are home for the summer and have failed to learn how to sleep in and won't stop saying, I'm bored. Is it too hot to go to the free zoo? I tell them to watch 101 ESPN on YouTube, brought to you by the Air Lions teams, but they miss Aunt Brooke. What do you suggest they do?
It's not too hot to go to the free zoo. It's never hot to go to the free zoo. And they have misters. If you walk around over there, you can get misted by the water that they have there. And you can go into the puffin and penguin exhibit. Dan, did you know that penguins have knees, by the way?
I did not know that.
Yeah,
See, this is the random trivia you could come up with.
This is important stuff. It is nice and cool, although mildly smelly at the penguin and puffin exhibit. That being said, kids love the rancid smell of the penguin and puffin exhibit at the free zoo. So, no, it's not too hot to go there. In fact, it's not too hot to get them outside and try to find things that aren't boring. You've got the new the putt shack over at not the Armory, but what's the one across the street? With all the restaurants and stuff. The Armory's on the
Foundry.
Foundry, there you go. You can go putt over there. You can take them to a driving range. They would enjoy a driving range. You take them to Family Golf, right?
Family Golf and Learning Center.
Yep. You take them over there and hit some golf balls, go to some batting cages. For their kids, for gosh sakes, no, it's not too hot. Just bring water along and make sure they're hydrated. But if you have the ability to spend time with your kids, don't miss out on that ability during the course of the summer.
It hasn't even gotten hot yet.
No.
It's been warm, but for St. Louis, hot is like 100 degrees for me. That's hot.
Yeah. So, but the kids don't mind.
No, they're fine.
I never complained to my parents.
They're
I was bored.
resilient.
I have video games.
Yeah.
Dear Uncle Randy, how do I explain to my wife that I don't want to do a vacation at a beach, but would rather go to a nice golf course without getting in the doghouse? They don't have any beaches by golf courses, do they?
There you go, Matthew. Thank you very much.
Sorry,
you have
just
solved
saying.
a problem here. So I would suggest that you find a place where they have beaches and golf courses. Maybe Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Yeah, try that. I would say that if they would make their way down to Jupiter, Florida, right? The West Palm Beach area. Lots of nice golf courses and lots of beautiful beaches.
It's pretty easy to find. There's plenty of places to go that have both at your disposal.
If you don't want to make that expense,
find.
just go to Destin. Destin, Florida has plenty of good golf courses and 10-hour drive and hang out on the beach there.
Yeah.
Run into some St. Louisans.
It's easy.
So
run into some St. Louis.
You're going to see a bunch of them there.
That's the most underrated line that you could have thrown out there. That was fantastic.
So, but here's the key. Now, she has to be a beach lover because you're going to go out for 3.5 hours to play golf. So make sure that she's on board with you guys spending almost all of your time together, but you're going to go out and play golf for 3.5, 4 hours, and she's going to be hanging out on the beach. So hopefully she's happy just reading a book and enjoying the sun.
618 says you can tell her there is sand on the course, too. I mean, that's true.
I was going to say, look in the eyes and be like, hey, we're going to be at the beach all the time.
I spend a lot of time at the beach, yeah.
I do, too.
I love the beach.
Yeah, how about that shot, by the way, by DeChambeau out of the sand?
Incredible.
18. That was amazing.
The percentage on that, I follow a guy, Lou Stagner, and the percentage on that was like under 10% that he would put it within what he did, whatever it was, 4 feet.
Frank Chambly said, I would have put that 55 feet over the clubhouse and the ball would still be in the air.
I think most people feel that way.
It was amazing.
Dear Uncle Randy, I bought my father-in-law a grill that he has already returned for Father's Day, and then he proceeded to give me the money back for it. Do I just move on, or do I get him something else?
No, you just move on. Yeah, that's a shame that he doesn't appreciate your thoughtfulness and your desire to make him happy. I wonder why he wouldn't want a grill from his son-in-law and presumably his daughter and gave you the money back. That's kind of a bummer, but it is what it is.
Maybe that's his way of saying, I don't like you.
That might be. It might be.
We got somebody who jokingly sends in and say, hey, Uncle Randy, I want to give my wife a curfew. How do you think it's going to go?
That's the same guy. So
I do want an update from that guy and see how things are going.
Yeah. So I would say...
we're not getting one actually kind of makes me wonder if that's how we know
it's
how
a
it's
little
going.
scary,
Yeah. So it depends on, if you're going to give a midnight curfew, I don't know why you even bother, right?
Yeah.
So the curfew, why not just hang out together? If you like each other and you're married, why not hang out together?
That's kind of the point, isn't it?
Yeah. Big qualifier there if you like each other.
That's part of it.
I've got to throw those in there, Dan.
That is part of
So he says, Dear Uncle Randy, do you listen to any podcasts?
I do. I'm not a big podcast guy. I've listened to multi-part series podcasts, but I don't listen to any individual podcasts on a regular basis.
How about books on tape?
I do like books on tape when I'm driving around and stuff.
Yeah.
I would like to read books on tape.
I struggle reading, so I read a bunch, but I struggle. I have to go reread
me too.
pages all the time.
Yep. Do you ever fall asleep while you're reading?
I do.
I do too.
Yeah.
It's not great.
I read all the time before I go to bed.
Does that put you to sleep?
Yeah, usually it does. It helps. You're not supposed to watch television before you go to bed.
Or be on your screen?
Yeah, before you sleep. You're not supposed to be on your phone or your tablet.
Yep.
Watching television.
Hilton Head Island gets a shout out as a place with beaches and golf courses. So there you go. Thank you to the texter for Hilton Head Island. So happy hump day. And just remember this, if you learn nothing else from this edition of Ask Uncle Randy, penguins have knees.
Do you get a lot of people, like when you're walking around, Randy, and they say, hey, I love you as a sports guy. Love you. You've been doing it forever. You're an icon here in St. Louis. But they say, I really like the Uncle Randy segment. Or do they ever say, I don't like your life advice?
No, I never hear that.
Okay.
People seem to like Uncle Randy.
Oh, I think it's great. I love the segment. I'm just curious if you ever get that, this life advice, especially for the guy at 10 p.m. I mean, come on, Randy.
Well, here's the big key.
I've been around,
No question about it.
With that being the case, I think especially the youngins in the audience, I consider anybody who only remembers baseball with Yadier Molina young. For them, I think they can use the advice, and I think many times they take it to heart, which is a good thing.
I take it to heart. I
good.
still listen. And we're not that far removed from our ages.
No. We're not. We're close in age.
Yeah.
We're proximate. I mean, this is the old, our buddy Chris Bauman, the new football stadium being adjacent to the Dome. He convinced a judge that the new stadium, which was a mile away, mile and a half, was adjacent to the Dome. And
I like it.
A judge bought it. It was great. That's smart. So that sounds Ask Uncle Randy. Coming up, we've got some athletes out there right now. Has St. Louis ever had more of an impact on the national sports scene than we're having right now? That's next on 101 ESPN.
Hey, it's Danny Mac on this Wednesday. I want to tell you about Stewart's American Mortgage. If you're someone who is looking to purchase a home or refinance, or if you're looking to consolidate some of that ugly credit card debt, maybe you don't know exactly what direction to go to in any of these things. Hey, let me make it easy for you. Call Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. He's going to help you every step of the way. If it's a new home you're looking to purchase, he'll get you to the closing table very fast. How fast, you may be asking? How about try 10 days? And he'll get you the best interest rate possible. And he also has the bagel loan, and that can help you out too. So what's the bagel loan? If you borrow $200,000 or more, there's no underwriting fees, no appraisal fees, no title fees, no lender fees, and no closing costs. Stewart, he is your guy. You hear about him all the time here on 101 ESPN. He makes it easy. Any questions on rates, the industry, the trends, give Stewart a call. Call him directly on his personal cell phone, 314-324-4440. Again, that number, 314-324-4440, or you can Google the bagel loan.
NMLS number 226715.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals bumble the early lead and fall to the Marlins in extra innings, this time in the 10th, 9-8. The Game 3 rubber match for the Marlins and Cardinals today, 11:40 a.m. First pitch down in Miami. Kyle Gibson will take on Yoni Chirinos. Today, his first start of the season for the Marlins. Gibson on the season, 5-2 with a 3.44 ERA as he comes off the bereavement list. Last night in the Stanley Cup final, the Florida Panthers fall to the Edmonton Oilers 5-3 as they extend that series to Game 6. And there were two moves yesterday for St. Louis City as they traded A.Z. Jackson to Columbus Crew and they transferred left back Nicholas Dewar. They will also take on the Colorado Rapid tonight at City Park at 7:30 p.m. And that is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Tatum did in the NBA, winning his first championship. We see Matthew Tkachuk and his Panthers leading the Panthers. They have a 3-2 lead in the Stanley Cup Finals. And St. Louis is really making a great impact on the sports scene. I don't know. I do know that it's not as visible as when the city is attached to the team, when it's the St. Louis Cardinals or the St. Louis Blues. But man, it's hard to imagine that we could have more of an impact on the sports scene now than we're having with the two winter sports and the best teams in those sports having their faces be from St. Louis.
And two of the best players. If they were just role players, that's a different thing. So we were talking about who's made that greatest impact, so to speak. And to me, it's an easy answer. I don't know if you guys will agree with this, but it's McGuire. I mean, McGuire was worldwide at some point. I mean, he's meeting the Pope. Yeah. Okay, so when
he went to Africa after 98 and got recognized.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he was Paul Bunyan-esque. Yeah. So with the home run chase and such a sacred record in sports and certainly in baseball, what he did, the race to have Sosa with it. But I'd go with McGuire as being the guy that, to me, kind of put everybody on the map from St. Louis just because it was not just nationally, man. It was worldwide.
And then you go in from that, and I agree with you 100% there. But you go from McGuire, 98, 99, 2000, right into the greatest show on turf. And then in 2000, the Blues win the President's Trophy. And you do have the best sports city cover that I still have. I know a lot of St. Louisans do. The Sporting News named St. Louis the best sports city. And there's no doubt that we were. We were the center of the sports universe at that time. And think about this, Dan, from the perspective of then. So let's just go 98, 99, 2001. Okay, so the Blues have Pronger and McInnes on their team. In 98, they still have Brett Hull, too. The Cardinals have McGuire, who should be in the Hall of Fame, along with Edmonds, and obviously Albert comes up in 01. And then the Rams had their 5 Hall of Famers.
Right.
If you count Aeneas, so it's Pace, Falk, Bruce, Warner, Vermeil, Aeneas, and then eventually Torrey, too. It's pretty incredible how many Hall of Famers we had in town at one time.
Yeah, and I think the most incredible thing that we talk about, and I know the Cardinals are proud of this, but there has been a Hall of Famer on the team since, 1923?
1909.
1909,
Every year that the Cardinals have played since 1909, they've had at least one Hall of Famer in uniform.
I wonder if we have one now. I think Arenado's going. I think Goldie goes. Goldie needs, in terms of WAR, he's like 2 away or 3 away from the cutoff, if you will, the the bar that has been set for first baseman in the history of the game. He's right there. I think if he plays 2 more years, I think he gets there. I think Arenado's got a great path to potentially get there. I think he needs to pick it up a little bit. You don't want to finish on a downturn, but his start to his career is Hall of Fame-esque.
How close, and I haven't even really looked, how close are his numbers to Roland's?
They're right there. And the Gold Gloves are right there, too. And so I thought he would go down as having the most Gold Gloves in the history of third baseman. I don't think that's going to be the case now. Now with, he lost to Key Brian Hayes, last year. It's going to be tough for him to get back to the level that he was. But what is it, 10 now, I think, that he has? 10 Gold Gloves. Let's say he gets to close to 400 home runs. That probably puts him in.
Yeah.
He'd be right there.
And I wonder if the voters care about the postseason anymore. It was a big deal that Roland got that world championship. We haven't seen Arenado on the big stage, and I wonder if that makes a difference.
I think, too, if you look at the numbers on the big stage, not great.
No, they are not.
They're not great, and that's something that may deter some voters. I think that the thing, too, about voters now, and we're talking about Willie Mays, is that we can now go back and try to quantify what he meant to the era or what he means on a whole with baseball because of WAR and the sabermetric stats. I mean, Ted Simmons told me he's not in the Hall of Fame without sabermetrics. Is that the voters now, younger generation of writers, are able to go back and try to quantify what those stats mean.
Yeah. So, and hopefully Arenado will find his way. By the way, some of the other St. Louis-centric people, the Brett Hull years when he was getting, and nobody was talking about hockey nationally, but Brett Hull was the cover of Sports Illustrated. He was on Letterman. Such a great personality. And he was, even though Gretzky was the face, I think Hully was the voice of the NHL.
His personality made it so much fun.
And it helped St. Louis that our rivalry in the 80s was against the Mets. And Ozzie was on the cover of SI all the time. And the hatred between the two franchises was palpable. And the way the Cardinals played was so attractive that I think that brought a lot of people into thinking about St. Louis, too.
So I wanted to ask you about this because you were all over this in the 80s and 82, 85, 87, but specifically 85 and 87. Do you think that the national perspective understood what was going on in both towns and how much they hated each other at that point in time, or was it more just localized with the New York fans and the St. Louis fans?
I think it was a national thing for a couple of reasons. Number one, and you hate for this to have been the reason, but the Pittsburgh drug trial, because the Cardinals had multiple guys, and as it turns out, the Mets had a big guy. But the other thing was that they were the two best teams. You had the National League East and the National League West, and the National League West might as well have not even existed. The two best teams were the Cardinals and the Mets, and one of them was going to miss the playoffs every year. So that was kind of the focal point of the baseball world, and baseball was a lot bigger then.
And you had New York, and you had Dwight Gooden.
Yeah. Right.
That's another one, too. You think about Ozzie and Strawberry. So when you get those two guys and kind of be in the face of the franchise and Dwight Gooden burst onto the scene, I think that's something else to consider, too.
Yeah, it was awesome. But I would argue that right now, this is pretty good. And I hope we as St. Louisans do a good job of taking care of our guys. I know Chaminade had a big thing for Jason Tatum, and I guarantee you, well, Jason's got his golf tournament coming into town in August, and Matthew, I guarantee you will bring the cup here. Hopefully that becomes nationally known that this one school in this one town developed these two guys.
Now, hold on, Randy. Does he get the cup?
I still think, with all due respect to what the Oilers are doing, nobody's done it since Toronto in 1942. Now, if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be Connor McDavid.
Exactly.
But I still think that I would take my chances with Florida for these next two.
I don't know how the Oilers withstood the final, let's say, 25 to 30 minutes in that game. The Panthers were everywhere on the Oilers, and they withstood it to their credit, and they forced a game 6. So it's going to be fun. I can't wait. Friday night will be nuts.
Panthers need to get back to their style of play, which is kind of like what the Blues played in 2019.
Exactly.
Maurice will have them ready to go. And last night was kind of weird. They gave up the short, as he mentioned in his in-game interview, the shorthanded goal and then the short side goal that really wasn't typical of Bobrovsky to let up. And 5-on-5, they really weren't horrible.
I think it goes to Game 7.
It'd be fun.
Oh, it'd
Nothing
be
like
awesome.
Game 7.
I'm with you. I think Tkachuk and the Panthers win, but I'd love to see a Game 7. I really would.
Coming up here on 101 ESPN, we've got Take It or Leave It. Get your text into the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho! Tioli next on 101 ESPN. If you are a business owner or a CEO, a CFO, an entrepreneur, you don't want to miss what's coming up here in St. Louis on Thursday, June 27th. NetSuite by Oracle is hosting a day-long event at the Union Station Hotel downtown called Business Grows Here, and it's set up for you to help grow your business. You can spend the day learning from more than a half dozen speakers, including Jamie Simonov. He's the founder of Ring Video Doorbell, and he's got a new company starting up right here in St. Louis because we've got it going business-wise. Every speaker you'll hear will leave you with strategies and tips that you can immediately apply to your business, and you can find ways to grow your business daily and today. Apply to attend this business event of the year. NetSuite's Business Grows Here happens Thursday, June 27th. It'll be a day well spent for you and your company. It's free to attend if you qualify. Apply today to find out if you do while seats are still available. Go online to netsuite.com/Missouri. That's NETSUITE, netsuite.com/Missouri. Time for Tioli here on 101 ESPN. And by the way, it was good to see Rory McIlroy and his bride, Erica, reconcile and get back together. Dan, we focus so much on the negative in sports and society. And, for example, J-Lo and Ben Affleck breaking up again. Take it or leave it.
Is that official?
Not official, but
Okay.
apparently it's but take it or leave it. We need to focus more on the positive, true love that exists in our world. For example, Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson.
Jesus.
72-year-old Bill Belichick and 24-year-old Jordan Hudson are an item. Take it or leave it. That's the sweetest, lovingest thing you've ever seen.
I'm going to take it, and I think you got to give him credit.
No, yeah, I think
Instead of looking at this as a negative with the age separation that they have, let's give Billy a little credit here. Nice
agree.
work.
Mm-hmm.
Have you read the story about how they met?
Yeah, there's a picture of it.
On the plane?
Yeah, because he was helping her with her homework.
Yeah.
Doesn't that framing just make it a little bit, just kind of make you chuckle a little bit, make you, I don't know. The framing creeps me out a
That
little bit.
happens
I'm
a lot.
just going to say it right
Boyfriends
now.
and girlfriends help each other with homework.
Could you imagine, though,
Yep.
bringing him home and to dad and mom and saying, by the way, here's my boyfriend, Bill Belichick.
Her dad's probably 54. She's 72.
What if her dad's a Falcons fan?
Unbelievable.
What if her dad's like a Falcons fan?
Oh, yeah, really? Good question. I don't know. She was a cheerleader for somebody.
I hope they don't get into Deflategate.
Apparently, they bonded over talking
That's
about
a
the
Randy
X's and
joke.
It
O's.
is, but it's outstanding.
They apparently bonded over talking about the X's and O's of her cheerleading routines.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Choreography. Yeah. Wonderful.
All right, take it or leave it.
Sure.
MLB will be fully implementing automated balls and strikes in the challenge system to AAA next week. When it's introduced to Major League Baseball, it'll be introduced as a challenge system. Take it or leave it. Just leave the human element of the game. That's the one that I want to see. Balls and strikes, leave it up to the umpire, not have the automated system.
I'm going to leave that, Dan, because I don't think that the umpires should be able to have their own set of rules. Why have a strike zone in the rule book if the umpire gets to have his own set of rules and his own strike zone? And where do you draw the line? Say, okay, well, I have determined that safer out is different than what the rule book says. So I'm gonna leave that. I think that the umpires should be required to adhere to the rules just like the players do.
Okay, that makes all the sense in the world. So I agree with that. I just, from a fan perspective, I want to see good old-fashioned fights. I want to see the good old-fashioned argument, guys getting into it, challenging the umpire. So that part of me, the fan part of it, is what I want. Yeah. I'm more on that side than the common sense side that you just said.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you there. And that's one of the reasons. That's one of the bad things about replay, isn't it?
Yeah.
That we don't have as many arguments. And Ollie made it a point. He said, I didn't care about replay. I just wanted to go out and argue and get thrown out.
Yeah.
So, and Matheny was pretty good at that, too. He just, he would go curse an umpire.
I mean, it's seriously.
Mabry once told Matheny that he got thrown out for loitering because he wouldn't curse.
I mean, it is still a part of the rule book that you cannot argue balls and strikes.
Yeah.
And the minute you go out there, you're tossed. Yeah. That's just the way it goes.
I like the idea of the ABS. I guess my big problem is if an umpire has his own strike zone and it's within reason, I'm okay. It's the guys who have no idea, right? Thank goodness Angel Hernandez is gone. But C.B. Buckner still has no idea what a ball or a strike is. But those guys are few and far between.
I think if an umpire's at least consistent, and he may not like the strike zone, it may show up outside the box when you're watching the game. But if he's consistently calling that pitch a strike, that may be just outside the box, players adjust, and they'll be like, okay, I got it.
Yep. And if he knows what he's doing, for example, Glavine and Maddox earned the outside part of the plate because the umpires knew that those guys were putting it exactly where they wanted to put it. If it was 2 inches off the plate, they knew that with Maddox and Glavine, that's where it was supposed to be, so they called it a strike.
My favorite, speaking of Atlanta, my favorite video ever, Eric Gregg is behind the plate, and it was I can't remember what postseason. I know it was the Marlins.
I think, 97 when they went to the World Series?
I think it was 97.
Yeah.
And they're calling, it was the Atlanta Braves against the Marlins. And I can't remember who's on the mound, but
it was Levon.
For sure him. But even on the other side, I can't remember who was on for. I mean, the strike zone was enormous, and guys are just like laughing as they go back to the dugout, saying, "This is ridiculous."
Yeah, that's Eric Gregg. There's another one. Matthew, what do you got on the text line?
Tim Logan on the YouTube chat. Take it or leave it. Home plate umpires are the thinnest skinned officials in all of sports. I would say the lead referees in a lot of basketball games would take that cake and run away with it.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think I would go with you there.
I would agree. I would agree.
Certain head officials of basketball go, I'm in an arena. It's with a roof on with 25 people. Oh, they're here to see 25,000 people. They're here to see me, baby. Take over the arena. Be the showman. Yeah. I hate that so much. Take it or leave it. Umpiring is getting worse in Major League Baseball on purpose so that you want the electronic strike zone.
I'm going to leave that. Actually, I don't. Like I said, I don't think it's overall terrible. We only know of a couple of really bad umpires.
I'd say this. I think TV has lent itself to showing up umpires to an extent. Yep. Is that you have so many cameras, you have so much technology now that's readily available. That borderline pitch before the K zone was there, you're like, that's a strike. And somebody in your living room, no, that's a ball. But, it was, now you have it perfectly set there, that K zone, to where you can see whether it's a ball or a strike. And I just think that is kind of shine a light on the fact that they do miss calls that I don't think we would have thought of probably 10 years ago.
I think Munoz actually got some last night. Low and away, up and in.
Yep. Yeah.
Take it or leave it. Mo's got one more blockbuster trade in him before he leaves.
I'll take it.
Take that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Blockbuster. Something that we don't see coming.
Yep. And it may be this trade deadline. It could be the offseason or next year's trade deadline, but he's he's going to go out and have a great chance to win. I truly believe that.
A different texter than that one texted in and said, the Cardinals make a trade at the deadline this year that makes you say, we didn't see that one coming. That was a completely different texter who said that completely before you just said that on the air.
So, yeah, Mo's got a couple of phones going this morning.
Yeah, apparently. Take it or leave it. Matthew needs to invite Jason to hang out with the cup with a real trophy.
Well,
He doesn't have it yet.
oh, yeah, with the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, he's taking a shot at the Larry O'Brien there.
That's fair. Yeah, I'll take it, yeah.
Do you think that Chaminade gets both together, both trophies together? I mean, Jason's only got the one day, or no, I'm sorry, Matthew has the one day with the cup. Can Jason, maybe you know this, Matthew, can he arrange to have the NBA trophy brought to a high school?
I'm sure he can, yes.
So it's a little different than the NHL.
Yeah, there's not an everyday thing. Yeah, and I just think there's not special handlers. You get your own Larry O'Brien trophy. That's just like the franchises. So I'm pretty sure he can maybe just borrow the Celtics for that day to take some promo pictures. Yeah.
All right, makes sense.
I think that works out just fine for him. This isn't take it or leave it. We just get a bunch of texts today. CB Buckner is the home plate umpire today for the Cardinals.
Oh, lovely.
Yep.
It's also hot too, so maybe Ollie's like, I need to get some AC.
Yeah, you got a roof there.
Yeah, it'd be cool in there.
Yeah, but, and it's an early game, so it really doesn't. And Miami to Birmingham isn't. So the Cardinals won't be bothered by any of the ancillary things that are happening. There's no time crunch, let's put it that way, for the Cardinals.
Fair point. Take it or leave it. Doug Armstrong has one more big blockbuster before he leaves.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So you got 2 years. I'm going to leave that because I think he's going to let these. I think he's going to let these kids develop, and that is going to be the case for this team. Is that is there a blockbuster? If you're going to do a blockbuster, it means some of your young kids are part of a package.
Dan, I kind of think what's going to happen here is that Alexander Steen is going to be given
a really good team,
with a lot of cap space.
I think so too. I'm with you on that. That makes a lot of sense. So you got 2 years. Lose some of the contracts. The young kids get a year or two under their belts. Yeah, I think you're right. I think they get a pretty good team in his hands.
Take it or leave it. Just get rid of the K-Zone on television and fans will be happier.
Oh, yeah, take it. Yeah. But no, you can't get rid of it.
And that's the whole point. I think it just shows we have more technology now to show egregious calls than we've ever had. That's a fact.
Yeah. But you're right. We would be happy. We would have been happy if it had never happened to the K-Zone. Now, if we take it away from us, we don't want anything to do with not having the K-Zone.
People would freak out if there was no K-Zone.
For sure they would.
Like when the broadcast glitches for a little bit and it's gone for a little bit, like it would just happen every once in a while, it takes over Twitter. So yeah, people would absolutely freak out.
Coming up here on 101 ESPN, some of the reaction to the passing of Willie Mays at the age of 93. He died last night. The all-time great did. We're going to talk about it here on 101 ESPN. Hey, I talked to you a lot about Mentality, and the people at Mentality are just fantastic. They have extremely knowledgeable and accomplished doctors and nurses that are going to take care of you and make sure that when you go to Mentality, that you get the energy back that you've lost over the years. And you've lost that energy, guys, because you're dealing with low testosterone. When you pass the age of 30, your testosterone level drops. And when you head to one of the great clinics for Mentality, either in Chesterfield or South County, they're going to make sure that they know where your your testosterone level is, and then they're going to restore it with an FDA-approved testosterone treatment. So if you have trouble walking 18 holes, if you have trouble getting through a workout that you didn't have trouble with before, if you're a runner, maybe you used to be able to run 6 miles and now it's only 4, the energy that you lost can be restored when you go to Mentality. And they're going to work with your insurance company to make sure your out-of-pocket expenses are as low as they can possibly be. Thousands of St. Louis men have taken advantage of what Mentality can do for you. You should too. Get started now at lowtusa.com. In St. Louis, time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Danny Mack and Randy Carricker. And Dan, Willie Mays passing away at the age of 93 last night. One of my favorite little video clips ever in baseball is Willie Mays playing corkball in the streets of New York with kids.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And the kids all come around him, and not that he's shooing them away, but he's telling them go get positions on the street, and he's playing corkball on the street. Yeah, it's amazing.
And such a great personality and such a great ambassador for baseball. I didn't realize he was banned from baseball for as long as he was. He was working as a public relations agent for a Vegas casino, and he and Mickey Mantle were banned by Bowie Kuhn from baseball. I believe he was out for 6 years, from 79 to 85, just because he was a greeter at a Vegas hotel. So baseball missed out on him. But the reason that he's a say hey kid is because when he would run into people, whether adults or children, say hey, kind of like Stan with what do you say? And I get why players are more reticent to deal with the public now, but that was such a romantic time when players did, and he was the biggest in the game in New York at that time, when players did the sorts of things that Willie Mays did to I don't think he even did it to help grow the game. I think he did it because he was just a genuinely good human being.
Some of the stats are just remarkable. 189 different players hit 400 doubles in their careers. Mays hit 523. 162 different players hit 100 triples in their careers. Mays hit 140. 111 different players hit 330 home runs in their careers. Mays doubled that with 660. 239 different players stole 250 in their careers. He had 338 stolen bases. So individually, as you can see, these are rare achievements, but he cleared each of them by a substantial amount. Now, though, you pull them together, how many players have hit 400 doubles, 100 triples, 330 home runs, and stolen 250? He's the guy. So that's why a lot of people say he is the best player that ever played the game. Different era, clearly, and you can have arguments about that, but he'll go down. I mean, Joe Posnanski wrote the top 100 players of all time, and I thought this was really good in what he said. He said, we can debate that it's Bonds. You can debate that it's Mays. You can say Stan the Man. You can say DiMaggio. You can say Mantle. But, Randy, I thought this was cool. He said it's how that player made you feel when you watched him. That's what made him your favorite player or the best of all time. It's how you felt watching that particular player. And I thought that was a really good way to put it.
That is. He was so exciting, and you never, from hearing people that spoke about him last night, you never felt like you saw a baseball game with Willie Mays in it where something sensational didn't happen.
If I could go back, here's another question, too, that I would ask for people now. I mean, he was 93 when he passed away, so most of us have not seen him and just seen limited video on Willie Mays, and then you hear the stats. When people ask me, who's the one player, if you could go back and watch, who would it be? I mean, you got Ted Williams, you got Stan the Man, you got Hank Aaron, you got all these great players. To me, it's Willie Mays. He'd be the one I'd want to go back and watch.
I agree with that.
You know, I don't know if there's anybody else I'd want to go see.
Yeah, he did it all. Barry Bonds on social media, quote, I am beyond devastated and overcome with emotion. I have no words to describe what you mean to me. You helped shape me into who I am today. Thank you for being my godfather and always being there. Give my dad a hug for me. Rest in peace, Willie. I love you forever.
So his godfather was Willie Mays, and some people don't realize that with Barry Bonds. The other part of it is, this is interesting. The 636, absolutely awesome fact that I found out that May spent his last 2 years with the Mets. Yeah, Tom Seaver was in his 5th season. Yogi Berra was the manager. Unfortunately, when he returned to New York, he was not even close to the player that he was.
Shadow.
And so for a lot of people thought that was actually kind of a tragedy when he went back to the Mets and didn't play to the level that, he was accustomed to playing. Tragedy is a strong word, but it was just it wasn't even close to the player that he was. And some people thought that was tough to watch. Remember when he slipped in the outfield? I don't know if you remember that, Randy. And a lot of people thought, okay, that's the end.
And people, I don't remember players for that. But that was how he said about him. I don't want, like with old players, I don't want player X to be remembered like Willie Mays falling down in center field.
And that's why I go back to Albert and how he leaves. What if, Ollie wrote him a note in right around the All-Star break of that final season when Albert was there, and wrote him a letter of what he means to baseball and why he needs to continue to play. Albert was thinking about walking away. And if that's the way, that would be kind of the lasting memory for a lot of people. And instead, the lasting memory is, hey, why don't you come back for another year? Maybe we could sign you to a 2-year deal.
703.
Yeah, so it was just the way that he went out is so different than what we see with certain players that just try to hold on forever.
A couple of other major league players, Frank Thomas, R.I.P. to Willie Mays. There's great players, and then there's true legends. God bless. CeCe Sabathia, quote, I'll never forget this day when I walked in and heard, that's that boy who wears his hat like this with the hat turned sideways. R.I.P. Willie Mays. You changed the game forever and inspired kids like me to chase our dream. Thank you for everything that you did on and off the field, always in our hearts. Dan, do you think, we talk a lot about the 660, and that's a number that's etched in our brains because that's the number of home runs that Willie Mays hit. There were a lot of people that said that once the Giants moved to San Francisco and he played at Candlestick, that took away another 100 home runs.
I talked to McCarver about that, and he agrees with that assessment. He said he would have been well above 700, but playing on those cold nights, windy days, windy nights in San Francisco at that ballpark, yeah, he said he would have been over 100 more home runs. I think he told me it would have been about 130 is what he anticipated. So that gets you to be in the all-time home run record, or at least you'd be very close to having that.
Yeah, you think about, we estimated 40 to 60 lost to service.
Right.
And then another 130, 100. He might have lost 200 home runs.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible to think about that when you combine both of them. Yeah, the ballpark you play and then the service time to our country.
Yeah, but even still, 660 home runs. And for the longest time, it was Aaron, Ruth, and Mays, and then obviously the steroid guys took over. But for a long time, those were the only three, 755, 714, and 660. And still, I think he's 10th all-time in home runs with 660 right now.
And I think most people, I don't know if you agree with this, Randy, but those that start doing the numbers do look at him as being the best player ever. Because he was truly five-tool, and he is the best that ever played this game.
So many people that I respect say that's the case. It's hard for me to disagree with that. And I know we can talk about Ruth and Ohtani because they pitched and hit, but in terms of playing the game at an extraordinary level and playing your position and doing everything that baseball requires. Hit for power. You ran down the numbers with the stolen bases, the home runs, you hit over 300, hit for power, run, field, throw. He had all five tools, and his five tools are utilized to the highest level.
Is it the greatest catch you've ever seen with his back to the infield?
He said to Tim Kirchin, I have 10 catches better than that one. I think Jim Edmonds had better catches than that. Now, I didn't get to see the ones that he said were better. That was, in the moment, because it was in the World Series, it was...
That's why I think it gets the attention that it does.
It's the greatest World Series catch of all time. But I think you called better catches than that one.
I think the one that stands out to me was Edmonds in Cincinnati.
Yep, I was at that, 2004.
Yeah, and Izzy, it's the funny story behind that is Izzy the night before said to Edmonds, how come you don't make some, because somebody made a great catch, and they were talking about it. He said, how come you don't make great catches for me like that? And the next day, and if you ever see the reaction of Jimmy when he goes over the wall and has it and he's smiling, he's kind of pointing at Izzy, saying, here you go. Got your catch for you. Saved a couple runs.
You got me tickets for that game.
Oh, I did get you tickets for that game.
That was fun.
It's the best catch I've ever seen.
And that was a fun team to watch play.
Sure was.
It was good. That's Danny. I'm Randy, and that is our Fresh Take here on 101 ESPN. Coming up.
I forgot that.
Yeah. Those were good times.
Yeah.
MLS season pass analyst and former EPL striker Bradley Wright-Phillips is going to be on the call tonight for St. Louis City SC against Colorado. He joins us next on 101 ESPN.
It's time for a DraftKings at Casino Queen Redbird report on 101 ESPN.
Another heart-stopping finish versus Fish. I'm Bradford Bruns with your Redbird report. One day after edging woeful Miami in extras, the Cardinals were not as fortunate last night. Skip Schumacher's club wins walk-off style 9-8, snapping a six-game skid. Chris Roycroft couldn't get through inning number 10, though Cards hurlers struggled throughout the contest. Starter Lance Lynn allowed 5 earned runs on 10 hits across 5+ frames. St. Louis also squandered 4 leads as well as homers by Paul Goldschmidt, Brendan Donovan, and Alec Burleson. This morning's rubber match features Kyle Gibson. Meanwhile, Wilson Contreras will make his second rehab appearance for Memphis.
The Redbird Report is presented by DraftKings at Casino Queen. Play, stay, dine at DraftKings at Casino Queen.
If you want to advance in your job, you should go online and check out the online offerings at Lindenwood, because advancing in your job generally is equated to advancing with your education. Well, at Lindenwood University, you can take your career to the next level with Lindenwood's online, 100% online program. Personalized learning, expert instructors, and affordable tuition. You can learn more at online.lindenwood.edu, but what they do with their online courses at Lindenwood is the best in the country. They have affordable, industry-relevant online programs that are perfect for you as a working adult. So if you want to break that tie with you and somebody else in your organization, get your online advanced degree from Lindenwood University. They have 35-plus online programs taught by industry experts committed to your success. And they're going to work with you to apply credit for prior learning and experience so you can get through quicker. The top-ranked online MBA in Missouri is at Lindenwood. That's according to Fortune Education in 2023-2024. Again, learn more about the online programs offered at online.lindenwood.edu. Tonight at City Park, St. Louis City SC takes on the Colorado Rapids. All matches tonight on the MLS Season Pass are free, so you can check it out. Dan McLaughlin, Randy Carricker with you on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. And we go to the celebrity line. Bradley Wright-Phillips will handle pre and post for the game tonight on the MLS Season Pass. And he joins us on 101 ESPN. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. How are you guys? Can't complain.
Good to have you with us. And let's start with this. Why is City not as successful as they were last year?
I think it's not too much different from last year. When I watched them, the intensity, the passion, what they're trying to accomplish in the game hasn't changed. I think when you look at football, that comes down to what you do in both 18-yard boxes, and they haven't been clinical enough, and they're not stopping enough goals. Been a bit unlucky with some of the goals they conceded. But, yeah, it's just what they're doing in both boxes.
Bradley, you were the sixth leading scorer, MLS scorer, when you retired in history of the league. So you know a thing or two about the ups and downs of the position. What do you see when you watch a guy like Klauss continue to create chances but not be able to finish?
It's so difficult. I've been in some of those moments, and he's been unfortunate this season, sometimes hitting the post, sometimes the defender coming in with a last-ditch tackle to make the block. he's just been a little bit unfortunate. But what I like to see is him still getting into the same areas, same positions. I think when a striker's going through one of these patches, you have to keep doing the same thing. Just start from building block A, and the ball will start to go into the back of the net.
And one of the other aspects to the lack of scoring for SC was the early season absence of Edward Leuven. What have you seen from him?
What haven't I seen from him?
What have you seen since he's come back?
Oh, you can see chance creation. You know, in the last game you guys played against Austin, he created, I think, want to say 6 chances. He just knows what to do in the final third. He possesses a lot of quality. And I think him playing, again, getting minutes under his belt, I think the fortunes will start to change.
Keeping them in matches has been Berkey. How does he compare to others? You know, tell our listening audience how good he is or how he compares to others in the league.
Well, compared to others, it's tough at the moment. You're looking at, well, obviously Hugo Lloris is coming for LAFC and he's a world-class goalkeeper. But when you look at Roman Berkey, what he's done over the last year and a half, there's not been a keeper that's made an impact, you know, as quick as he has for me since I've been over here as Roman Berkey. I think it's not just his shot saving, it's his leadership. His will to win. And then when the saves he has to make, he makes, and then he also makes the world-class saves. So having a keeper like that behind you, imagine when St. Louis starts scoring now, you know that's almost guaranteed clean sheet or not conceding too many goals. A brilliant goalkeeper.
Bradley Wright-Phillips from MLS Season Pass with us on the opening drive on 101 ESPN. And Bradley, I want to ask you about the big picture here as we traverse the rest of the season. We're almost halfway through. Tonight will be the midpoint of the season for City. Do you see things that make you believe that they'll be able to go on a run and start turning some of these draws and losses into wins?
I do. I think with Leuven back in the side, the way you're, like I said before, you're not doing too much different. I think you've added a few, you know, passing aspects to the final third, but you're not doing too much different. I said it before. It's just in the final third where we're not, you know, finishing the chances. I see, with Leuven back, I see the chances high. I think you need maybe in July another signing. Someone, I know you've got a new player coming in, but maybe one more. And I see things changing because the team's doing a lot. They're leaving everything out there. No team outruns St. Louis. No team creates, well, I shouldn't say no team, but they create a lot of chances. For me, that's positive. If I'm in that locker room, I wouldn't be too hard on myself.
Nicholas Dewar was moved yesterday after just 138 minutes across 5 matches. A large reason is opening up an international slot, but there was clearly an issue with his acclimation to a new league. So my question would be, how tough can that acclimation to a new league be, specifically coming from Europe to the MLS style, similar to what you had to do?
Yeah, it's not easy. When I first came here, I didn't know too much about the MLS, and I thought it was going to be a breeze. I was shocked by the standard of play, and then I was shocked by the travel. I was also shocked by the heat in the summertime in New Jersey, the humidity. There's a lot to get used to. Then you throw in the issue of not having your family here with you, so you're staying in a hotel. There's a lot of things you have to get used to, and then you're expected to perform. These things can be difficult. It took me maybe half of the 2013 season. I only started getting going and feeling like myself in 2014. So it can be difficult. There's a lot to adjust to.
How did you deal with the heat? What did you do to make sure you acclimated to the heat?
You can't do anything. You just get used to it. I think once you cross those white lines, you're in a game, you're ready to compete, and you learn to deal with it. You know, everybody on the pitch is dealing with it, so you learn to deal with it. You just have to hydrate and train hard during the week, so when you come to a game day, you're not surprised.
Bradley, just a couple quick things about the league. We know who has the best records. Are the teams that have the best records right now the best teams in the league, the teams that have the best chance to win the MLS Cup?
I think so, because I go off of the eye test. I think if you've been this consistent and you're at the top of the league, you're getting a bunch of goals, you're not conceding much. That, for me, is a recipe for winning trophies. So I never like to argue with the table, but there are some outsiders. You know, if we look at Columbus, they were distracted by, the cup games with Liga MX side. So I think that's the team you have to watch out for. I think teams with the summer window coming up that can strengthen their squad, you have to look out for those, but the table don't lie.
So I'm curious, just from a national perspective, what do you think Messi has done for the league? Has it been what we all thought it might be? What is it like from your perspective?
I wasn't sure what Messi was going to be like after the World Cup win. I was wondering, is he done? Is he coming in to chill out? I was completely wrong. I think, first of all, what he's done for the league, the eyes on the league, the amount of people watching MLS, now is more than ever before, which you can see every week on MLS Season Pass, and then just what he's doing on the pitch. So that was the bit I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I was obviously never doubting his quality, but I was doubting the hunger maybe. But every week he plays, he has a special moment. I think it's important for us here in the MLS, all of us that watch it and are invested in it, that, you know, while we have these eyes on us, we make the most of it. We show them our young players. We show them the players. We show them such as fan bases such as St. Louis and Austin and Atlanta, all the big fan bases, CITY, Columbus, all of those teams. We have to show what we have over here. So when he does leave, we still have those eyes on us and show them the quality we have over here. But he's brought so much to the league.
Bradley Wright-Phillips will be tuned in tonight for MLS 360 on the MLS Season Pass, and we'll see you before and after the St. Louis City SC Colorado game. Thanks so much for your time. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Good luck tonight.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bradley Wright-Phillips from MLS Season Pass, and as we mentioned at the top, all matches free tonight on MLS Season Pass.
How do you think they're doing that with the television side? I think it's been pretty good.
It's been really good. They just have to, you have to have a lot of soccer fans. It's easy for the NFL to go out and grab people for Peacock and for Amazon and for what do they have coming up next year? They've got another streaming service that they're going to use next year. But it's harder because there just you don't have the volume of soccer fans, at least in America. But the smart thing about MLS, Apple is such a global brand that people overseas that want to watch MLS are seeing it on Apple, and the overall production is outstanding.
And I would say too, the general schedule is Saturday nights at the right time that you want to see the games, and it's something that you get in a habit of too. If you're a soccer fan, you tune in, you make sure that it's a habit, and you know when these teams are playing, so it becomes kind of easy to follow.
And for them, I know they did it for the money, but it's not necessarily a money grab. I think when you have your games on Roku, nobody knows what Roku is. That's a money grab, right?
Oh, totally.
That's different.
Totally. Did you watch the game Sunday?
Yeah, but it was free on MLB.TV.
Okay, so you were able to do it that way.
But I wasn't getting Roku.
No.
All due respect to a Cardinals Sunday game against the Cubs, but no, I wasn't. But I have MLB.TV. So I think one of the things the NFL does, one of the things that the NBA is doing, clearly MLS, they're going to big name streamers. And I don't think that baseball is doing a great job. But to your first question, I think MLS, they're treating it like it's the NFL, and it's great.
Are you going down to the game tonight?
I will not be headed down to the game, even though I probably should, because there's nothing else going on tonight.
There really isn't. We're getting to that dead time in sports.
Yeah. So there's no hockey, there's no basketball, there's no baseball tonight. Cardinals are playing a day game.
Yeah.
So, but I'll be watching it on MLS Season Pass.
I couldn't believe
paid
it.
my $12.99, I think, yesterday for my MLS. $12.99 a month. I think it paid yesterday.
I can't believe that the All-Star break in baseball is, 2.5 weeks away?
It's amazing, yeah.
This season's flying.
Flying by. And then 2 weeks after that, we've got the trade deadline.
Yeah, so it's not that far away.
It's amazing.
There's a game at City Park tonight.
I know. We
just talked about it. We did a promo for it for 15 minutes.
Yeah. So
You said there's not a lot going on in the sporting world tonight.
Well,
just throwing it out there
because that's why I'll be watching it. I'll be focused in on that because there's, as I said, no hockey, no basketball, no baseball for the Cardinals tonight. So it's all about City SC tonight for me.
Nice work, Randall.
Thank you. I'm still waiting for Mbappe.
He wants Mbappe. You walked out of the studio, Matthew, and he was talking about Mbappe.
I'm telling you, it's going to happen. You just might have to wait till 2029, 2033.
I was going like 33, 34.
I was going to say, how old is he? He's like 26, so add eight years onto it. So yeah, 2032. Kylian Mbappe, baby, woohoo!
Matthew?
Yes?
Would this be happening if the ownership wasn't cheap?
Oh my God! Yeah, God, it's continuing. It's like people are still going. It's still like it's not like they built a stadium or
for how much?
$430 million.
And then they paid an expansion fee.
$200 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
One more point.
Thank you, Taylor family.
MLS decided that they're going to have to start paying these academies that the MLS teams kind of steal from because that they're taking money away from those local academies. So those local academies need extra funds, and they obviously need to charge people to run. St. Louis City has multiple academy teams, and they don't charge people to play for them. So not only do you have the overhead of a stadium and an expansion fee, if it costs so much money to run academy teams and City doesn't charge for it, that's a lot of overhead that's also on top of an ownership group right out of the gate. And again, they're in the second year of actually being able to, bring in money to actually get in the black a little bit. So let's pump the brakes a little bit. Come on now.
Yeah. See, I wanted to set you up for that.
Also, they're about to sign a guy to a $1.5 million designated player contract in like a day. So
you're jumping on Randy too much.
I'm not jumping on Randy.
You are. Yeah. You watch yourself.
You know me. I just can't stop jumping.
Coming up, we've got the fight here on 101 ESPN. Exciting news from my friends at Schnucks. I'm always telling you about how great the rewards program is, and now it's even better. For example, right now, today, this morning, you can get a free donut with your Schnucks Rewards app because the Cardinals hit a home run last night. Every night the Cardinals hit a home run, the next day you get a free donut from Schnucks. Just show them the coupon in your Schnucks Rewards app. And Schnucks Rewards are getting personal. They've completely refreshed the program, and they've added more personalized touches with new perks just for you. Get personalized savings, which are basically custom deals on the items you want most. And you also get personal double points days, so you can earn 4% back on your entire cart. Plus, you'll get a free, freshly baked donut on your birthday and the day after the Cardinals hit a home run with dingers for donuts. If you're already a member, you'll start seeing the benefits in your rewards app, and if not, now is the perfect time to sign up for Schnucks Rewards. Just download the Schnucks Rewards app to get started and to get the best deal on your groceries and get money back, as much as 4% back on everything that you buy with Schnucks Rewards.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Cardinals fall in extra innings yesterday to the Marlins, 9-8. Rubber game today. It's an early one, 11:40 a.m. between the Cardinals and the Marlins. It'll be Kyle Gibson, 5-2 on the season with a 3.44 ERA, coming off the bereavement list. Kyle Gibson will join the show tomorrow for his usual weekly interview. He'll be facing off against Chirinos for the Marlins. The righty on the season is making his first start of the year. Last night in the Stanley Cup Final, the Edmonton Oilers extend the series to at least 6 games with a 5-3 win over the Panthers. And tonight, St. Louis City SC hosts the Colorado Rapids. You can catch the game 7:30 down at City Park. That is your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Please welcome Randy Carricker.
Eric won the fight yesterday. That was day one of his challenge against Randy Carricker. It is 8:36 in St. Louis. Eric joins us on this Wednesday. Eric, congratulations on day one. You ready for day two? Hello, Eric.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, good. I don't know if we had you potted up. I got to ask you, was yesterday a life-changing... Go ahead, buddy.
You guys are really breaking up, though.
Okay, well, we'll try to get through this as best we can, okay?
Sure.
Okay. I just wanted to ask if yesterday was a life-changing moment for you to beat Randy in the fight. That was all.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, good. All right, here we go. Question one. Where did Finals MVP Jaylen Brown play his college career? Was it UCLA, Kentucky, or California? It was a life-changing moment for you to beat Randy in the fight. That was all. Oh, you got your radio on, I think.
Yeah, it was. I was surprised at how many friends and family listened to the show.
All right, Mike. Eric, really quickly, we're going to give you a call back, see if we can get a better connection here.
Yeah, and turn off your radio. Turn off the radio.
I think he was doing that because he couldn't hear us.
I guess so. But he was a little late on some of the answers on being a life-changing moment. It was question one. Where did Finals MVP Jaylen Brown play his college career? UCLA, Kentucky, or California. This is what we call in radio trying to fill when you don't have Randy next to you, and Rocc is on the phone line trying to get Eric on, and we're trying to get a connection that actually works. And now we are filling to the best of our abilities. It's now 8:38 in St. Louis. The weather looks great outside. It's partly cloudy. It's going to be a little warm. What?
Eric's back.
Oh, okay. Eric, can you hear us now?
I certainly can.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay, here we go. Question one. For the third time, where did Finals MVP Jaylen Brown play his college career? Was it UCLA, Kentucky, or California?
California.
Final answer?
Yes.
On to question two.
On this day in baseball history, Bo Hart made his Major League Baseball debut, going 2 of 3 with a double and starting off his Cinderella campaign. Which season was this? Was it 2000, 2003, or 2006?
2003.
Okay, on to question three. Yadier Molina has the most games played in the National League as a catcher. Who is the only other player to catch 2,000 games in the National League? Al Lopez, Ernie Lombardi, or Gary Carter?
I'm going to go with Gary Carter.
Is that your final answer, sir?
Yes.
All right, on to question four.
Besides Willie Mays, who is the only other outfielder to tally double-digit Gold Gloves while hitting 500 home runs? Is it Barry Bonds, Mickey Mantle, or Ken Griffey Jr.?
Bonds.
All right, we'll check the score. We will bring in Randy Carricker.
Here comes Randy. Right now, he's visiting with somebody in the front office of 101 ESPN and trying to make sure that, hey, hold on. Randy, let's go. I don't care. Let's go. He needs you on the air.
Money moves being made.
Come on, Randall. You got to be sharp. You got to be on time. We had a connection problem with Eric and his phone.
Oh, sorry about that. So we think we're having a good day?
Yeah.
Nobody's having as good a day as Monty Williams.
Is that right?
He just got fired by the Pistons.
Oh, my God.
5 years and $65 million left on his contract. $13 million a year, all guaranteed.
That's a good day.
That's a good
day.
You got kicked out of Detroit.
You're right.
And you're getting $13 million a year for 5 years.
Should tell you the money that's in the NBA just to walk away from $65 million.
Crazy.
Randall?
Yes.
Are you ready to go?
I'm ready, sir.
If you will, and would you please say good morning to Eric?
Eric, good morning again. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Good. So I stand outside. I can't hear, but I can see what's going on in here. And I saw Matthew feverishly going back to the phone to start dialing again.
Yeah, when we've already kicked Randy out and started the segment, me going back to the phones usually isn't a good sign.
I did the weather to Phil.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good.
I read question 1 3 times, and now here comes a 4th.
All right, I'm ready.
Where did Finals MVP Jaylen Brown play his college career?
Jaylen Brown. Dan, I feel bad that I don't know this off the top of my head. I do. I'll know when you tell me what, because I'm going to use a lifeline here.
UCLA?
No.
Kentucky?
No.
Cal?
Kentucky.
Randy, on this day, Bo Hart made his MLB debut, going 2 for 3 with a double and starting off his Cinderella campaign. Which season was this?
2003.
Ooh, you were quick on that one.
Bo Hart.
I've been waiting to get a Bo Hart question in for 2.5 years.
Well, now you got one in.
Finally.
Bo Hart.
Question 3. Yadier Molina has the most games played in the National League as a catcher. Who is the only other player to catch 2,000 games in the National League?
In the National League, 2,000 games caught. So how did that start? He's the only one to catch 2,000?
Let me reread it.
Okay.
Or read it again.
Yeah, thank you.
Yadier Molina has the most games played in the National League as a catcher. Who's the only other player to catch 2,000 games in the National League?
Okay, so there's 2 guys that have caught 2,000 games in the National League. Him, I can't imagine that. Well, Bench's career wasn't long enough. 68, maybe it was 68 to 83, but he wound up playing first base at the end of his career. The Dodgers, Steve Yeager, Socha didn't play that much. I'm thinking Piazza did catch a lot for a long time, and his career was essentially played, except for a little smidgen in Oakland in the National League.
A smidgen.
A smidgen, yeah, in Oakland. But let me just run around the teams. Cards, Cubs, Reds, Brewers, Pirates. Manny Sanguian, no. Dodgers, Padres, Giants, no. Posey, no. Rockies and D-backs don't have a guy. And then Braves, Del Crandall, no. Simmons, no. Braves, Mets, Expos. Oh, you know what? I'm going to go Gary Carter.
Took you a while.
Yeah, I'm going to go Gary Carter.
I like your mind working, the thought process. Well done.
Thank you.
It was when he tripped upon Mets and he went, whoop.
Yeah. Actually, it was
Montreal.
Expos.
Expos, sorry, excuse me. Yeah, right, my bad. Just whoop. Popped right up in your head there. Randy, besides Willie Mays, who is the only other outfielder to tally double-digit gold gloves while hitting 500 home runs?
Did Barry do... I think Barry might have done double-digit gold gloves. Andrew Jones didn't get to 500 home runs. Obviously, he had double digits. Stan never had that many gold gloves playing the outfield. He didn't hit 500 home runs either. So let's just zero in on that. How about Ken Griffey Jr.? Let's go with him.
Matthew, do your thing.
Well, we had a late poll on Ken Griffey Jr., and that means we got to keep going here to the tiebreaker, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so we're going to go to the tiebreaker here. It's going to be a closest to the pin one, and there's no way you guys both get the same amount from this question, so I'm going to be confident we're doing one tiebreaker today. So, Eric, you were a first-timer yesterday overall, so let's make sure you have the rules here for our tiebreaker. I'm going to read out the question. Once I've read the question, we're going to give Randy Carricker a moment to write down his answer. Once he has shown us that he has written down an answer, Eric, then I'm going to get the answer from you audibly over the radio. Randy will then confirm his answer. I'll do a little math, and whoever is closest to the pin is the winner in today's fight. Do you understand those rules, Eric?
Certainly do.
All right, Randy Carricker, are you ready?
I am, and I'm glad Shirley do.
Nicely done. So this, ironically enough, Randy brought up should Willie Mays be the logo, because the conversation around that was because we lost Jerry West a week ago, and that's where the tiebreaker is going to go. It's going to go to the guy who still reigns as a logo, and that is Jerry West. How many career regular season points did the logo Jerry West score in his NBA career? How many regular season points did the logo Jerry West score in his NBA career? Just a moment, Eric, as Randy puts down his number. Let me see that really quickly. All right. I am going to get my calculator ready here as Eric. Randy Carricker has shown us his guess. What is your guess, sir?
30,000.
All right. Nice round number for Eric, and that makes the math a little bit easier. All right. We have a winner in today's fight. Does Eric go for a Hall of Fame chance on Thursday, or does Randy Carricker stop him in his tracks here with this tiebreaker question? Ring that bell.
The winner and still champion of the fight, Randy Carricker.
The fight is presented by Golf Discount of St. Louis, with the most experienced club fitters in town. Why shop anywhere else?
Just win, baby.
Randy, you showed the camera, but what was your exact guess on this question?
24,953 was
That was
my
an
guess.
insanely good guess, my friend Randy Carricker. I'm sorry, Eric. Randy beat you, but when you hear how he did it, you got to tip the cap here. Randy's guess was 24,953. Your guess was 30,000. 25,192 for Jerry West. Randy, you were off by a hot streak across like a March and an April for the guy. That's pretty much all you were off of from his total number there. And incredible. Just 200, under 200 there for Randy Carricker away from Jerry West total. So it's a tough loss there for you, Eric. You took it 3 questions to 3, but unfortunately in the tiebreaker, Megamind he kind of went to work a little bit.
I had fun, though.
There you go. It was a close
That's all
one,
that
too.
matters.
Let's go through the questions and go through the answers because I thought Eric was going to be going
That
for a
is
Hall of
fun.
Fame shot until the Ken Griffey Jr. late call there by Randy, nicely done. Where did Finals MVP Jaylen Brown play his college ball? He had a fairly nondescript couple seasons, good score, but Cal was not having a lot of offensive success under Conzo Martin. So Cal is where Jaylen Brown actually went. Yeah, he struggled a little bit there, and Cal was a not a very efficient volume scorer, and but still went third overall, and obviously has really improved his game. It was on this day in 2003 that Bohart made his career debut, and then had a little fun for the city of St. Louis across the season of 2003. Yadier Molina has the most games played in the NL as a catcher. It is in fact Gary Carter, the only other player to catch 2,000 games in the NL. Obviously, Yadier Molina breaking his record. And besides Willie Mays, and in fact it is Ken Griffey Jr., the only other outfielder with double-digit gold gloves and 500 home runs. Do you know the third person on that list, the infielder who's on that list, Randy Carricker?
500 home runs and
double-digit gold gloves.
Mike Schmidt.
Mike Schmidt. I thought that was a little bit too easier. That's why we went with the outfielder part of the question there. So a win for Randy Carricker today, thanks to our tiebreaker. Thank you again so much, Eric, for joining the fight and joining the show the last 2 days.
Oh, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank
See you later.
Have a great day. Appreciate it, Eric. Eric with us on 101 ESPN. Coming up, Rory McIlroy had quite the collapse on Sunday in the U.S. Open, but where does that collapse rank this century? So we aren't using John Vandevelde because he collapsed in 1999 at the Open, but there have been some pretty precipitous drop-offs here in this century. That's next on 101 ESPN. I stopped by to see my friends at the Fenton Bar and Grill yesterday. They're excited about Ricky Cole performing on June 20th and 22nd. That would be tomorrow night, and then on Saturday night over at the Fenton Bar and Grill. Ricky Cole is one of the great country artists right now. He's in Nashville, originally from Atlanta, and if you want some great music and a great performance, stop by either tomorrow or Saturday night at the Fenton Bar and Grill and hear Ricky Cole perform. And while you're at the Fenton Bar and Grill, enjoy the greatest trash wings that you will ever have. Enjoy their sensational menu and such friendly people. If you go there today, you can say hi to both of the Kellys, the feisty redhead Kelly and then the new Kelly. Say hi to Casey and Megan. Such a nice group of people that are going to be serving you. And the management there is just terrific. They make sure that the service is great and that the food is great and that there's great things on the TV. Stop by this morning. Heck, the Cardinals play at 11:40, and watch the Cardinal game while you're eating lunch at the Fenton Bar and Grill. It is the place to be. It's a great place to hang out after golf, maybe for a happy hour, for a great dinner. The Fenton Bar and Grill. Learn more at FentonBarandGrill.com and tell them Randy sent you. All right, I got to tell you, my heart was breaking for Rory McIlroy down the stretch on Sunday. And we all have different emotions as we watch somebody collapse. But this is a guy who's put so much, not only, Dan, into being a great player and tried to win. He hasn't won major in more than a decade after winning 4 in his first 4 years. But he's also a guy that, from a personal standpoint, really defended the PGA Tour during the whole live thing. So I look at Rory in a different light, and I have a great appreciation for him. And I thought, you picked him to win the tournament. And I thought once he grabbed the lead, and he had a 2-shot lead, he was 8 under, and DeChambeau was at 6 under. I thought for sure that Rory McIlroy would par down the stretch and win the tournament. Lo and behold, he bogeys 2 of the last 3 with missing putts on 2 of the last 3 and winds up losing the tournament to Bryson DeChambeau.
Do you have a problem with him walking away after that was done?
I did not.
I think you have to at least shake DeChambeau's hand. You may not want to address the media, but I think you got to stick around.
That's a good point. I was just thinking from a media standpoint.
Yeah, media standpoint didn't bother me. I don't care. But in terms of just making sure that you give the proper respect to the guy that won it, I think you shake his hand and then you can move on.
The tournament ended at 6:38 Eastern time, and his plane took off at 7:29.
Wow. So he was out the door.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see. He's on Full Swing again. And the Netflix cameras, they were right there when he was putting his bag in his car and taking off. So you're going to see a lot with that. That's going to be fascinating to see.
So from an individual or a team standpoint, obviously probably the biggest collapse during the century is the Falcons being up 28-3 in the third quarter in the Super Bowl and winding up losing the game. But, man, there have been a lot already this century.
I think you'd have to look at the Texas Rangers against the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I mean, the Game 7 and the way that unfolded, a couple of times having the lead late and then lost that game. I think the most gut-wrenching one in golf for me was Tom Watson in 2009. He was 59 years old. He's at the British Open, and he bogeyed 18. He said he thought he hit a perfect shot. It wasn't. He bogeyed 18, lost in a playoff. There's Jordan Spieth in 2016, had a 5-shot lead on the 10th, going into the 10th on the final day at the Masters. Back-to-back bogeys, quadruple bogey. I mean, there's some ones that we don't talk about now, but they really stand out since the turn of the century.
Dustin Johnson in the U.S. Open with an 82 on a Sunday, came into the day with a 3-shot lead, and he finished 5 shots out of the lead in 10th place. Just an overall collapse for a pro golfer to shoot 82 in and of itself is alarming, but to do it when you have a 3-shot lead in the U.S. Open, man, that was a rough one. The Warriors, the 73-win Warriors, are up 3-1 on the Cleveland Cavaliers in the NBA Finals in 2016.
Don't forget about Rory again. Rory in the 2011 Masters had a 4-shot lead, led by 1 at the turn, and wound up tied for 15th because of just a disastrous back 9. One that will not get talked about much, but Lorena Ochoa led on 18 in the 2005 Women's Open, and she triple bogeyed.
Oh, man.
She was up by 2 going into 8. No, I can't. I mean, the one that you mentioned it, Randy, is John Van de Velde.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the worst. And Greg Norman at the Masters blew up. I mean, it's when an individual does it, I find it harder to watch than when a team does it. I just feel so bad for the individual when that unfolds. It's awful.
And one of the one that is applied to an individual was when the Chargers were up 27-0 over the Jaguars in the 2023 playoffs. And even though he didn't play bad, Justin Herbert took a lot of grief for that.
And still does.
Yeah, he does. And then there was another one, and this is just the greatness. It wasn't as much a collapse by the Texans, but the Texans are up 24-0 by the first possession of the second quarter in a playoff game, and the Chiefs win the game 51-31.
Yeah, that one stands out for me, too. Phil Mickelson, the U.S. Open, he's got the lead on 18. Needed a par to secure it. It would have been his 3rd consecutive major. He double bogeyed at Winged Foot, and he wound up hooking it off the grandstands.
Yeah.
That was a tough one to watch. By the way, Rory is only 35, so he's still in the prime of his career. The only problem with that, if you look at the history of golf, Arnie never won a major after 34. Seve stopped at 31. Tom Watson was 34. Gene Sarazen was 31 the last time that he won a major. Byron Nelson was 33. Ernie Els was 32. I mean, those guys didn't win, past basically 34 years old. Rory's 35, time ticking maybe a little bit on him.
And really, Tiger, he's only won the one since 2008, right? He's 48 now.
Well, he won 2019 Masters.
Just the one. But
yeah.
Since 08, he's only won the one.
Correct, yeah.
So that's a pretty. Now, there were obviously a lot of ancillary things that happened with Tiger Woods.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, if you go back, that's 34 also. So 16, is that 18, 16 years? So, yeah, he would have been 32.
Yeah. The Tiger thing is hard for me because I want him to do so well, and I want to see him play well in these majors. I just don't know if that'll ever happen again.
No, I can't imagine with his physical impairments now and how messed up his ankle and his legs are. it's hard for me to imagine that he's going to be able to play 4 consecutive days walking and be effective. And if you didn't see it, by the way, the PGA Tour has given him a lifetime exemption for every single tournament.
I think it's smart.
Smart move on their part.
Because I use us as an example. When the majors popped up, the PGA, the U.S. Open, we're in here doing our show. Guys tee off early. A couple times he's been on the early tee times. What are we doing?
We're watching him.
We're watching him, and all of a sudden he's 2 over after 3, and I'm like, don't take the cameras off him. I still want to watch. I was talking to Jay Delsing about this the other day. If you watch Tiger now with his swing, it's all upper body because his legs just can't get into it. And when guys now on the PGA Tour at practice rounds, they can wear shorts. He does not wear shorts. He wears pants. He doesn't want to show that leg. It's devastating what it's done to his career.
Yep. That's Dan. I'm Randy. Coming up next year on 101 ESPN, quite a happy day for a guy for a weird reason. That's coming your way on the Rush Hour Reset here on 101 ESPN. play at 11:40 this morning in Miami. Kyle Gibson will be back on the mound. Kyle Ludus has been sent back to Memphis as Gibson returns from the bereavement list. Kyle Ludus, we hardly knew you, except from your Wash U days. So he's back he will be back in Memphis. And the Cardinals wrap up the series today against Miami after losing last night 9-8 in 10 innings. And then the Cardinals will go to Birmingham, Alabama, where they will play the Giants at Rickwood Field tomorrow. That is the first place that Willie Mays ever played a professional baseball game, and sadly, Willie Mays passed away last night at the age of 93.
It'll be a celebration of his life tomorrow. You know, that'll be one of the things that I'm sure that you see on the broadcast and the players and the remembrances that are coming through. I can't wait to watch it. I think it's going to be a great game in terms of, I don't care what the score is. I don't care how the baseball is played, but I do want it to be a great reminder of just how special these players were, and I think we'll get that tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And hopefully the Cardinals, man, if you can't take 2 out of 3 in Miami, then you got real problems, right?
I think so, too.
You hate to say one game would present real problems, but the big picture, though, we were thinking they got to sweep Miami. You got to take 2 out of 3.
I think so, too. And I go back to some series that they have not played great in. Colorado, they split with them. The Chicago White Sox come into St. Louis and take, 2 or 3 in that series. A lowly White Sox team. These are the kind of games and series that if you win, you can look back and say, all right, we got beat up by this team. They're above 500 by 10 games or 15 games. We got beat up by this team. But these are the series that you have to win. You got to stockpile wins when you can get them, especially when you're hovering around that 500 mark.
Soccer, St. Louis City SC playing the Colorado Rapids tonight at City Park. It's a 7:30 start, and all the MLS games are free tonight on Apple's MLS package, so you can check it out. Check out St. Louis City SC tonight. If you can't be over at City Park, then you can watch it on TV.
Are you, let's see, you're going to have a busy day. You got golf?
Yep.
You're going to tape the Cardinal game, I guess.
Yes.
And then you'll watch City live.
I will.
Okay, that's your day.
Yes.
You've got it planned out.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's the way it'll work.
Where are you playing golf today?
We're at Forest Park. It's the Demetrius Johnson Charitable Foundation Memorial Tournament. DJ passing away a couple of years ago at the age of 62, and his foundation's still doing amazing things for youth in the inner city in St. Louis, and I'm proud to be a member of that foundation, and I'm proud to contribute any way I can.
Good stuff. Speaking of Mizzou, Demetrius obviously tied in with the Missouri Tigers, but Mizzou has announced, or at least the story broke this morning, that Mizzou will play Illinois in basketball. The report was December 22nd at Enterprise Center. That's a Sunday for that game right before Christmas. So festive time in St. Louis. A lot of people taking work off, and December 22nd will be Mizzou, Illinois at Enterprise Center.
December 22nd, 1985 was a Sunday. Mizzou and Illinois were playing.
Oh, yeah.
Jack Buck was doing the play-by-play on KMOX. Jim Hannafin gets fired, and Jim and Jack were very tight, very close friends. Jack didn't have to do the game. So I don't even remember who wound up doing the second half, but Jack found out about it and knew that he had to be with Jim Hannafin after that game, so he bolted.
Isn't that something?
And Jim Hannafin took his coaching staff out for a drink after the game, and I think it was a special teams coach, remembered that he had forgotten his wife's Christmas present in the office, and so Hanny drives the assistant coach back to the office. They try to open the door, and the doors are locked.
Is this the date? I'm trying to think of the passing of Jack Buck.
Yesterday. This is
Yesterday
December
was
18th of 2002.
Okay,
22
man.
years.
It's been a long time.
It has been.
We miss him. We miss him.
No doubt about it. And then a huge basketball story today. We talk about the money that's flying around in sports. The Detroit Pistons fired Monty Williams. Last year, they made him the highest paid coach in the league, a contract worth $78 million. Still has $65 million over 5 years left on that deal. And according to Woj, the decision to fire Williams was made at Detroit's ownership level. New team president Trajan Langdon, the former Duke star, will make his own coaching hire now. So Monty Williams, 1 year into his tenure as the head coach of the Pistons, gets whacked with $65 million coming his way.
What a great deal that is for him. He gets to get the hell out of there and get $65 million guaranteed.
Yeah, I asked Matthew during the break, would you rather coach for the next 5 years for the $65 million or not coach? And then let's qualify this. Coach the Pistons for the next 5 years.
That's the key.
Yeah. And get the 65 or not coach the Pistons for the next 5 years and get the $65 million.
Maybe go with not coaching the Pistons?
I think I'd rather not. I bet he's still got a house in Phoenix.
He has one of the most up and down, wildest runs, like professionally and personally, of the last 20 years for like a sports figure. It's been insane, honestly. Like the ups and downs, just like, his wife passing away, the different jobs he's had, going to the finals, getting fired, getting the huge contract. It's unbelievable what this guy's gone through.
Yeah, it really is. It's an amazing story.
If you're the Lakers, do you take a look at him?
I would.
Yeah. But if I'm him, I'm not touching with that 10-foot pole because I don't get paid. I'm going to get fired in a year from there. And then I can just sit back and not do anything for the next 5 years.
And he has interesting relationships. Apparently, one of the things that caused him to get fired in Phoenix was his relationship with Ayton. And he got along great with KD. KD was upset when Monty Williams got fired. But the Pistons or the Suns felt like he treated the stars differently, which you do, right?
Right.
But Ayton apparently wasn't too happy, and that's what caused DeAndre Ayton to get traded there.
If I'm the Lakers, I at least got to extend an interview.
Yeah, I think you do, too.
I mean, just to see where he's at.
Who's got a more impressive coaching resume, him or J.J. Redick?
Exactly. And that's my point, is that he's got this resume that has been put together. It may not cost you a ton of money because he's making so much money from the Pistons. It might be a good deal for him to get out west again. It would make some sense to me.
If I'm Monty, though, I might take a year with the new packages on Amazon and on NBC. He would be really good on TV. I might just look at that and, at the very least, just take a year away from coaching because that's a grind, coaching in the NBA.
The guys get burnt. They're totally burnt. And maybe that was part of the problem that he had there, too. He's just burnt out. But if he still wants to coach, a year is about a good enough time to step away, but keep yourself relevant in the game. Go do television.
Yep.
That's a way to keep your foot in the door.
Right. And Budenholzer didn't even do that and came back and got a massive contract to coach. Ironically, the Suns, they fired Frank Vogel after a year after firing Monty. There's some coaches getting paid a lot of money to not coach.
the NBA, and have you seen the numbers on the TV deal?
Yeah, it's amazing.
They're
$76
astonishing.
billion, right?
Yes. It's staggering, the kind of money that they were going to make.
Yep. There's your Rush Hour Reset. Coming up, the Cowboys have signed a sponsorship deal with a slot machine company. Now, everybody has interest in Vegas and sports, so why are we suspending players for gambling? That's next on 101 ESPN. All right, Hoffman Brothers needs you to know that for the next 9 days in St. Louis, we're going to be 90 degrees and above. And if your air conditioning is having a hard time keeping up, then you need to get in touch with Hoffman Brothers at 314-664-3011. 314-664-3011 or at Hoffman Bros, HOFFMANN, HoffmanBros.com. Why Hoffman Brothers? Well, they're an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, and we are on the Hoffman Brothers Home Protection Plan. So they come out every year for the air conditioner and every year for the furnace, and they do such a fantastic job of having friendly, knowledgeable service people that are going to check out your air conditioner, make sure that you're in good shape for the summer months, and they'll also give you a lifespan for your air conditioner. You never want to have your air conditioner go out when it's hot in town, and it always seems to. Well, Hoffman Brothers can make sure that your family is going to be comfortable for the entire summer because of the way they do their business. You'll love working with Hoffman Brothers. They're great people, and they're sports fans in St. Louis. They are the official heating and air conditioning provider for St. Louis City SC. It is Hoffman Brothers, 314-664-3011 or at HoffmanBros.com. How about them Cowboys? The Dallas Cowboys have signed a sponsorship deal with a slot machine company. And it's amazing to me, Dan, that pro sports are just so embedded with gambling. And especially, not that this is any different really, because gambling is gambling. I guess it's different if athletes have always gone in and played slot machines. But there is such reticence on the part of pro sports leagues to have their players involved with gambling, and they're suspending people left and right. And then they're hypocritical enough to take all of this money from the gambling companies. You wonder where the hypocrisy will end if it ever does.
I guess the only thing is that they're trying not to open up a box in which these guys are gambling all over the place, and they're trying to nip it in the bud and saying, okay, you can gamble on other sports, but if you gamble on ours, we got serious issues with that. I got no problem with players gambling. Just don't gamble on your own sport.
How about if you don't gamble on your own team?
That's the other one. I still think your own sport.
Okay.
Because here's why I'd say that. Agents represent so many players, and the players then become friends, and then you get insider information on it.
Okay,
yeah,
reasonable.
And so I'd take away from that.
By that rationale, though, couldn't somebody then argue that a lot of those agents have crossed sports, and so therefore you shouldn't be able to bet on a lot of major league sports as a major leaguer because you have those connections?
You could look at it that way. You also look at it that, what about the player telling family members?
That's true.
Or friends.
Yep.
This is, Randy's not going to play today, so you might want to think about this or that or the other.
Yeah, and I refuse to believe that there are not front office people that are gambling. I know a front office person that was a front office person in this town that gambled a lot. Now, we didn't have, at that time, the ability of the FBI or the gambling industry to find them because you weren't gambling on your phone. But there have been a lot of people over the years, Pete Rose being one of them, that gambled and got caught. But I'm sure many more that gambled and didn't get caught.
How many guys if you had to put a percentage on insider information, how much do you think that's being doled out on a nightly basis?
Oh, every single game in every single sport.
See, I agree. And I don't know what the percentage is in terms of how many guys are doing that, but it's happening. There's no question it's happening.
There's a reason that Vegas is so good on these lines. I go back, Dan, to when Kurt Warner got hurt in the opener of the 2003 season. And I don't remember, I think it was a concussion that he suffered against the Giants. And Dr. Z wrote a piece about how the line didn't change. The line for the next week didn't change because somebody knew that it was going to be Bulger at quarterback anyway. Somebody from inside the Rams had told Vegas that it was going to be Bulger at quarterback rather than Warner, so they just put that line out with Bulger being the quarterback. And Dr. Z wrote that there is somebody in every single locker room, in every single building with the NFL that is talking to people in Vegas. And that's why I say it's 100%, because Major League managers, we don't see the lineups now for baseball games until Vegas does.
Right. That's a rule.
Yeah.
Yes.
Same thing, I have to believe, with hockey and certainly with basketball. Oh, by the way, authorities in Canada are opening a criminal investigation into the scandal involving former Mizzou player and Toronto Raptor Jonte Porter. Craig Abrams, a spokesperson for the Ontario Provincial Police, told ESPN yesterday that the Investigation and Enforcement Bureau determined a criminal investigation is warranted after completing an assessment of available information released to online betting irregularities from the January 26th and March 20th Raptors games that Porter left. So Jonte might be looking at a little bit more of a problem than just being banned for life by the NBA.
But how do you stop it? I don't think you can. I think if you're these leagues, you can try. Yep. You can look at phone records potentially if you have a suspicion of a player, but I don't think you can stop it.
Hey, all a player needs to do now is call his childhood buddy and say, "Hey, can you put 20 on the Raptors for me?"
Yes,
and
you got a conduit.
Yeah, now that the players know that they're being spied on, they need to work around the spies, and that's the best way to do it. Because what are they going to do? Are they going to listen to the people's phone calls? No. So players will, and front office people, they'll be able to gamble.
Matthew is laughing at us.
So there's the big concern is, how often do you wind up with a Jonte Porter situation?
Right.
Matthew, why do you think this is so funny?
We got a text from somebody who pointed out Avon Toney is a striker over in EPL, and he got suspended for, I think it was over a year, for making just a colossal amount of bets on soccer. His club's kit is sponsored by Hollywood Bets.
See, there you go.
So across his chest says Hollywood Bets.
Of it.
But I mean, is it hypocrisy if you're trying to draw a line between a profit side on the business side and wanting to hold back potential corruption on the player side? Like, is that hypocrisy?
Here's the thing. You are telling everybody that is involved with your sport, except for the people that are involved with it. You're telling every single fan,
go bet.
Go bet.
Right.
I mean, you've got signs up. You're doing TV commercials. Hell, you've got your network named after a casino. But right? Is it, not that they've ever utilized it, but your network isn't. They bought naming rights. So you're telling everybody to bet, but you're telling your players, yeah, you can't be entertained this way.
I guess certain businesses have different parameters for conflicts of interest. And I just, are we dealing with this is just what sports is always going to be? Or maybe the part I'm overlooking is, should the conflict of interest have stopped the betting money coming in as a sponsorship in the first place?
To me,
should that have been where the wall was?
You have a much stronger case in the court of public opinion if you suspend Pete Rose because you don't want anything to do with gambling. Hey, you got to give Bowie Kuhn credit. He said, we aren't going to have anything to do with gambling, so we're going to suspend Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle from baseball activities. They aren't going to have anything to do with baseball. But now the line is so blurred. I don't know how you tell with a straight face players, yeah, you can't do that.
This person a little frustrated with us, Randall, 314. Okay, betting with inside information is the primary reason why gambling on sports should be illegal. It's not just players, it's anyone under the sun. No, Randy, the hypocrisy is not going to end with the corruption. Put on your dunce caps and sit in the corner.
I would ask
He's an
this,
angry little elf, that texter.
Ooh,
probably
man.
is. I would, because I know this. I can tell you a story. Before we even had cell phones, this is 19, and Jack Buck told this story on the air, so I feel like we can tell it now.
We'd answer the red phone for Jack many times.
We would.
Yes.
He goes down to the field for the Bills
The Super Bowl.
Yep. Bills
With
Cowboys
Jimmy
Super Bowl.
Johnson.
And meets Jimmy Johnson at midfield. And Jack said, "Are you going to win today?" Jimmy Johnson said, "Big." And Jack said, they were at the Rose Bowl. He said, "I couldn't run up those steps fast enough to get a call into the bookie." So my point being, if you were predisposed to gambling before there was gambling on your phone, you were going to find a way to gamble.
Yeah.
And that has not changed. Now, there are more people having it easier, but I think this person might be a little bit naive as to how much gambling has taken place in this country for a long time.
I think the state of Missouri is one of, 13 states now that does not have legalized gambling.
Yep. And of the 8 states that border us, only one doesn't have legalized gambling as well. So if you want to go across the border to Kansas, if you want to go across the border to Illinois, if you want to go across the border to Arkansas, you can gamble and take your tax revenue elsewhere.
Well, literally, you go over the bridge, it dings.
Dings, yeah.
So if you want to place your bet, there it is. It dings. You placed your bet, and you move on.
This is a wild take for me. 314. Probably should have just left betting illegal instead of having it out loud in the open. It was more fun anyway. But here's the thing. The corruption was still there. Now Jonte Porter simply isn't in the league anymore. Like
it's just more prevalent, though. I think now.
Do you think players weren't betting before betting became legal?
Of course.
And so that's my thing. It's most studies show that when you take something that has been popular while it's illegal and you legalize it, usually the numbers don't rise that much. It's just that everyone is now super honest about doing that thing.
And we aren't going to slow down technology.
That's to me, that's the key.
Right? It was going to happen. And by the way, even if there weren't FanDuel and DraftKings, people were still going to be betting with their phones because of the technology. So it was going to happen. It was inevitable. And that's just, I guess we could outlaw cell phones, but that's not going to go
Probably
over
ain't going to go well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of insider trading that goes on in the stock market, but we haven't banned the stock market. But we put people in jail when we catch them for insider trading. At least some people, not certain people who don't live in New York and live down the East Coast a little bit. But nonetheless, I mean, there are rules, and you need to arrest the people when they break the rules, not just get rid of the rules.
Do we have initials here?
That was a DC joke.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay, good. Gotcha. Okay.
Randy was like, come on, spell it out.
Okay, thank you. Dan, Matthew, Randy, coming up, the Cardinal lineup is out, so Vegas has the lineup, and you will have it soon because we're going to play the lineup game here on 101 ESPN. Hey, I want you to know about what's going on in St. Louis on June 27th. It's a huge business seminar that if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, a CEO or a CFO, you don't want to miss. It's Business Grows Here, brought to you by NetSuite by Oracle, and it's here to help you grow your business. You can spend the day learning from a half dozen speakers, including Jamie Siminoff. He's the founder of Ring Video Doorbell, and Jamie Siminoff, the founder of Ring Video Doorbell, has founded another company that's going to be headquartered right here in St. Louis. Every speaker that you're going to hear on June 27th is going to leave you with actionable strategies and tips that you can immediately apply to your business. Take notes and grow your business. Apply to attend the business event of the year. It's NetSuite's Business Grows Here event. It happens Thursday, June 27th. Go to netsuite.com/Missouri. That's NETSUITE, netsuite.com/Missouri. The business event of the year, a day well spent. Apply today to find out if you are eligible. Well, seats are still available. netsuite.com/Missouri.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Cardinals yesterday fall in extra innings to the Marlins 9-8. They will look to take the rubber match today. Early 11:40 first pitch coming up, and that means we're going to have the lineup game in our next segment. It'll be Kyle Gibson facing off against Yanni Chirinos for the Marlins. This is Chirinos' first start of the season. Gibson, on the other hand, 5-2 with a 3.44 ERA through 83rd and 2/3 innings pitched so far this season. Last night in the Stanley Cup Final, Game 5, in the Edmonton Oilers still outlasting elimination as they push to Game 6 with a 5-3 win over the Panthers. And tonight, St. Louis City hosts the Colorado Rapids down at City Park, a 7:30 start for that game. City did announce two moves yesterday, trading A.Z. Jackson to the Columbus Crew for $650,000 in general allocation money with a potential to get up to $900,000, and then also agreed to a transfer of left back Nicholas Duyer back to Denmark for Danish Super League side Randers FC. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
All right, time for the lineup game. The Cardinals playing at 11:40. They're only a couple of hours away from first pitch, and the Cardinals will send Kyle Gibson to the mound. And we are going to, Dan and I, play a little lineup game with Matthew as our MC of this game, our game show host, as it were.
Let's switch to the fun music.
Okay, we're going to do the fun music. Here we go.
There we go. We switched to the fun music now.
Fun music. Good.
We're playing a game.
Okay.
So you guys, leading off for the St. Louis Cardinals today, I'm going to need some names.
You didn't play last night, right?
Mason Wynn.
Got to be the leadoff hitter.
All right, fine. You guys want to start it off like that? Fine. You guys can start it off with a correct one. Mason Wynn is leading off for the Cardinals.
Against the right-hander, are we going to go Donnie Baseball?
Let me think.
It's got to be Donnie Baseball or Burley. One of those two, right?
I'm moving Burley up to the 2 spot, and I'm going to drop Donnie Baseball.
Okay. I'm game for that.
So who are we going for the 2 hole?
No, I'm going Donovan.
Okay. I had Donovan down in Penn, so I just had to.
Okay. So it's got to be Burleson. All right.
Nicely played, Danny Mac. Go with the gut on this lineup game today. Let's see who's
That's what makes it fun.
Fair enough. Who's batting third?
Who hit a home run last night?
That'd be Paul Goldschmidt.
There you go.
Breezing right through. Goldie batting third. Who's hitting cleanup?
Who didn't play last night? It's your third baseman.
Yeah, Arenado.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ooh. So you got a righty on the mound. Do you want to play Nolan Gorman, though, who's won for his last 27? He'd be the logical choice.
Yeah, I guess so.
I cannot believe you guys got that one right. Batting cleanup for the Cardinals today. Nolan Gorman.
Okay. Now, Arenado, right? Hope he's not hurt.
That's what I'm thinking.
Consensus?
Yeah, let's go to Arenado.
No, I wasn't going to go. All right.
Oh, you were right, though. Nolan Arenado is batting fifth for the Cardinals.
That's 1, 2, 3. You got Mason Wynn at short. You got Burleson in the outfield. You got Goldie at first. You got Nolan Gorman at second. Nolan Arenado at third.
This has to be Donnie Baseball. Right? Donovan has to play. Left-handed hitter.
Yeah.
12 hits in his 12 of his last 13 games.
Yeah.
You guys are correct. Brendan Donovan batting sixth for the Cardinals.
I'm okay. For shortstop.
Who's going to be your catcher today?
It's got to be Pajes. But you know what, Dan? Hold on. So Donovan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Pajes is he's got to be in there. Okay. Goldie is first. Burleson as your right fielder. 1B.
You got Ciani in there, right? You're going to put him in center.
He's hit ninth. Yep. So ninth. So
who's your DH?
I'm going. It's Marp.
Got to be.
Yeah. I'm going to go Pajes here though.
Is
that good?
Seventh.
Smart. Hold on, Dan.
Carpenter's my DH. I'm moving him up, so I'd put him seventh in the lineup.
Okay, let's go Carpenter here.
Matt Carpenter batting seventh for the Cardinals.
Okay, Pajes.
Yep.
Batting eighth for the St. Louis Cardinals. But where would he be playing? Pedro Pajes, batting eighth.
And then Ciani.
So hold on. I got my left fielder is
Donovan.
Burleson in right, Ciani in center.
Yep.
Okay.
Batting ninth, rounding off the Cardinals lineup, it is in fact Michael Ciani. Your Cardinals lineup for today, leading off, playing shortstop, Mason Wynn. In the two-hole at the right field spot, Alec Burleson. Goldie at first base, batting third. Nolan Gorman in the cleanup spot, playing second base. Nolan Arenado batting fifth. Playing third, Brendan Donovan batting sixth. In left field, Matt Carpenter is your DH for the game, batting seventh. Eighth is Pedro Pajes, your catcher behind the plate. And Michael Ciani rounds out the lineup, batting ninth and playing center field.
I was thinking about this last night. Has Matt Carpenter played the field at all this year?
Good question.
I don't know that he has.
Did he play a little first?
I didn't think he had.
Here's a question for you. Nolan Gorman batting cleanup. Would you think about dropping him down? And I understand why they have him batting cleanup. You want to stagger the righties and the lefties between Goldie and Arenado. Do you think about putting Carpenter between those two?
Yeah, 6 and 1/2 dozen of the other.
You think so?
Well. Yeah.
I just think because Gorman's struggling so much, you can move him down the lineup.
But Gorman can hit a home run for you too.
Yeah, Carpenter could too, but not like Gorman.
Yeah.
But I get it.
It would have taken me at least, like, I don't know if I would have been able to settle with Gorman at cleanup just off the rip of my head like that way. With just looking at the numbers, I know it's not like anyone else is necessarily hitting to the point where they force it, but
yeah.
I just that kind of I would have put. I feel like I would have if I was playing the game. I would have gotten stuck at 2 and 4 because I feel like I would have in my head been stuck with Donnie batting second and Burley batting cleanup if you're not going to have Arenado there.
Yeah, I was stuck.
But I guess the left or right.
The number two hitter because I like I said I had Donovan written down. It's not a bad lineup though. You can win against the Marlins with that. So did you find out has Mark played the field?
He has not. No, he's played 18 games. He's started 16 of them in the DH spot, and he has no in his either 2. He's just been a hitter. No time in the field for Matt Carpenter.
Interesting. Yeah.
Like the
it's a hell of a way to make a living, isn't it? The
Monty Williams of baseball.
People are mad we don't have the sounder. I'm not stealing Marshy's sounders.
No.
Why not?
It's IP. Marshy works hard. They do the lineup game like 2 or 3 times a week. We do it once every 3 weeks. So I'm not just going to steal Marshy's sounders.
Yeah,
That would feel low.
I like that. I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you.
Good. We don't want to do that.
I like the music, though.
I thank you. It's the Carricker and Smallman fun music.
Although I will tell you this, the folks in the fast lane love them, but they have stolen the rush hour reset. So I'm kind of proud of them.
Wait,
too.
what?
Yeah, they do it. They do the rush hour reset at 5. I'm so proud of Anthony and Carrie and the Rivs. Yeah,
they do have 4 hours to fill.
They do. Yeah. So I'm really happy for them. Creative ideas.
Did you steal anything from them?
No. Well, hell, the name of the show was the Fast Lane when I started the station here. So no, I haven't had to steal anything.
Okay. All right.
I will say this: our little thing, Tioli, at 7:45.
Yeah,
that used to be on SportsCenter. It used to be called Truth or Trash.
So you stole it from them?
Yes.
Take it or leave. It's a better name.
It is. Thank you. We've got something that nobody else has, at least on this
Rocc
station.
and Roll.
We've got Rocc and Roll coming up next on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you are in the market for a new fence this summer or any outdoor project, I want you to visit with my friends at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. 800-300-4054 is their phone number. You can find them on the web at chesterfieldfence.com. They do a fantastic job with cedar or vinyl fences or cedar or vinyl decks. And by the way, they have a new pewter color for their Vecca vinyl deck, which is absolutely beautiful. It's a gray that looks fantastic. But in addition to fences and decks, they do an unbelievable job with sunrooms and screen rooms. So if you want to make that addition to your home, the only company to call is Chesterfield Fence and Deck. They'll come out, they'll provide a free, no obligation project design. They'll do exactly what you want to do, and they're going to show you pictures of jobs they've done in the past so that maybe you'll add something that you hadn't even thought of that'll make your area even more special. Chesterfield Fence and Deck has been around for 56 years. They're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, and if you tell them that Randy Carricker sent you, you can get 20% off your next installed outdoor project with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. On the web at chesterfieldfence.com. Call 800-300-4054. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
And roll.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
It is time for Rock and Roll here in the opening drive on 101 ESPN. We've already put together tomorrow's show, so we're going to have an exciting program for you.
Yeah.
You want to preview
Cardinals starting pitcher Kyle Gibson joins us tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. What time does he do? We should probably get that in there. What time does he join us?
Depends how the start goes.
Okay. I forgot to put him in there. So
is that right?
It shows he's going to be better.
It's more that he has two different times available. Usually he goes around 8:45 or 9:15.
Okay. I'm going to plug in 9:15 right now. So what do you got, sir, on the old rock and roll here?
One of the things that we didn't get to talk about at 8:15 with Bradley Wright-Phillips, I just wanted to throw out was the news yesterday, because there's been a lot of different things are happening. We got into the actual technical part about Nicholas Dewar being traded with just not being able to get acclimated to the team. But I think the bigger question is, why did these trades kind of happen? And just a really quick explanation, the trade to AZ Jackson and the Nicholas Dewar move are both in combination because of another move that hasn't been announced yet, which is one we talked about earlier in the week, which is St. Louis City's going after a guy from the second Bundesliga named Marcel Hartl. The big thing there is he's going to be a designated player because he's going to have a big contract.
You got to get Hartl.
Also,
you got to get Hartl.
Yeah, you got to get Hartl. Also, they needed to open up an international slot, which is why they transferred Nicholas Dewar, because there are a lot of players on this team who maybe aren't playing too well, who are still acclimating, who you didn't just ship out after 138 minutes, but you needed to free an international roster slot to complete this move. That was the Dewar move. Columbus had Marcel Hartl on the dotted line, screwed it up somehow, so they trade for AZ Jackson to give them another option at the same position. It also frees up some money because City's going to have to pay Columbus for the discovery rights to sign Hartl, so you get $650K. You're going to have to turn around today, tomorrow, whenever it gets finalized, and you're going to have to pay Columbus $350,000 from your GAM account for the rights to sign Hartl in the first place. So these moves, while in and of themselves say a lot, the bigger thing is that these are two smaller moves in part of a much larger third move as City tries to get better this year.
That's what I was going to ask. Does yesterday make City better?
In the long run, yes. Obviously, in the short term, if you lose depth as you're losing players, because here's the thing, AZ Jackson can't play for his new team until July 18th, but I don't know if he's going to still be available for City. I'm not sure if there's going to be an agreement of like, hey, don't use him, or if maybe he doesn't want to. I'm not sure, but the bottom line is, with Oshrak, Alm, and Pompeu hurt, you're thin right now in the midfield and on the wings, and AZ Jackson gave you a little bit of depth there. So in the short term, the team is going to struggle, especially with 2 games this week, because they're thin at winger, they're thin at defender right now. But long term, this now opens the door for you to get that third player to come in on July 18th when the transfer window opens. You already have Jake Gerwood-Reich, who's a center midi / defender. You already have Cedric Teuchert, the striker from Germany, and now conceivably you'll have Hartl, the attacking midfielder, coming from Germany. So short term, this might hurt them, but long term, making that second half push post July, that's where this is going to come into play.
Beautiful.
Man, you love your city.
I just
Everybody
think
loves our city.
My thing with City is that it's confusing. And that's why there's so many different tendrils, and it's like, well, you just traded a player. What player did we get in return? Well, you didn't get a player in return. It's kind of like baseball. You just traded him for money. But the weird thing is that technically he doesn't get traded to the new team until July 18th. So there's parts of it that you can explain to a baseball fan or a hockey fan, and it's like, well, yeah, that's how every sport works. But there's always some stupid wrinkle because it's global soccer that throws it on its head, and MLS does things so weird in the first place. I got texts from people, including a sponsor to this show, who was asking me about the Dewar move. I'm like, well, the Dewar move is because they need to open up an international spot. And he's like, this is all too confusing. And I agree. That's why I'm trying to explain it to people.
That one actually made me laugh.
Wow, that one got you.
That one did.
That one got you, huh?
It did.
Okay. Do you or don't you got you? Unbelievable.
That one got me.
Good, I'm glad.
That's the first out of 150. I've actually kept a running tally.
You haven't?
Yeah.
So now I'm 1 for
That's
150.
the first
huh?
that's actually got you.
There was Barkov. There was
Barkov got me, damn it.
No.
I hate that Barkov got me.
Right, that should become a thing now. People love
do you or don't you? Or whatever you said, whatever the hell it was.
Do you or don't you? Like Larry Plow. do you or don't you?
We're going to go get a guy from Wista.
Wista.
At 5:50, we'd always ask him about the captain. I don't know, who did he play for? We wanted the Blues to go get Mike Pecker. Mike Pekka, PECA, and Larry said it Pecker. So we always tried to get him to say it.
Keep the show clean.
Mm-hmm. You have 5 years to spend $65 million. What's your first purchase?
Oh, man. First purchase.
I'm actually donating it. Not all of it, but a bunch of it.
Oh, I would too.
Yeah, exactly. Get the PR out in front. And then,
it's not about PR. It's about trying to make a difference in somebody's life.
Yeah. I would do that too. But I would probably get a place on a golf course.
Where, though? Arizona?
Yeah, Arizona.
You love Arizona more than Florida.
I do.
It's just the dry heat you like instead of that mugginess that can get in Florida.
And you know what is cool? Arizona has I don't want to live in Miami. Tampa would be fine, but I like the fact that Arizona has the sports teams. Although losing the Coyotes doesn't help.
West Palm ain't bad.
West Palm's pretty darn good.
Fort Myers, Naples, pretty nice.
Pretty darn nice.
There are a lot of, as you mentioned earlier, a lot of St. Louisans.
But there are, yeah.
It's like St. Louis South, East.
I wonder if Monty Williams already. I'm sure he still has his house, right?
In Arizona?
In Arizona. So probably that's why the question was asked. Monty Williams, fired by the Detroit Pistons, last year signed a 6-year, $73 million contract, only had to coach a year of it, and now he's got 5 years, $65 million left, and they fired him this morning. Ownership fired him, so he has it going.
That is a good question, though. What would you buy with that kind of money right away?
I think you have to keep some money around, right?
Yeah.
So you can set yourself and your kids up for the rest of their lives.
And their kids and their kids.
Yeah. But I guarantee you this, Dan. I could not spend $65 million.
Oh.
It's like Brewster's Millions.
How much does it cost me to rent a private island?
See, but
that's how I'm going to cut it right
somebody
there.
found out and it wasn't good for them.
Yeah.
What?
I said someone did that and didn't work out all that well for them.
Well, no, that's
or
not.
others.
It's a lot of things afterwards.
I'm starting to turn into Randy on this stuff.
I'm proud of you, Danny.
Yeah, terrible.
Here's the thing. I don't have enough friends to rent a private island and make it worthwhile.
You have a ton of friends.
I could, but
I'm not inviting anyone to my private island.
I'll get a VRBO on an island, and I'll get a little slice of beach. I don't need a whole island.
You're right. I don't need an island, but I would probably, if like off the rip, my first thing would be, okay, 5 years. How much does it cost me to get 60 months of a VRBO in one of those villas that's like out over the water in the Bahamas where the water's clear as day, and like you have like a little like window on your living room floor that like looks down into the ocean. Just how much does that cost me for 60 months to live in one of those? Because that's my overhead right there.
How about this one? It's upkeep for Michael Jordan's yacht. If you rent Michael Jordan's yacht, upkeep is $940,000 a week.
Come on.
Yeah.
Wait, how many weeks? Wait, $940,000
Is it really?
a
Let me
week?
just double check this. Yeah.
Is he $3 billion now?
Yeah, he's got to be.
Wow.
So that never.
What is
that's $48 million a year.
Yeah, it'd be worth it.
But I mean, you're literally you're taking out your $65 million in 1 year just by having Michael Jordan's yacht.
Yeah.
There goes your 65, by the way, Randy. You'll find a way to get through it.
Oh. Yeah, it says $80 million. I read somewhere that it was $940, but still,
that's amazing.
$80 million a week for upkeep for his yacht.
Well, if you got the money, I guess it's worth it.
I guess. I don't know. Yeah,
$80 million's a lot of money.
You have to like it a lot. 80. Think about that. 80 grand.
Yeah,
800 grand a week.
Does he live on the yacht though?
No. He's got a house in Jupiter Island.
Oh, that's right. And he's got his golf course too.
Yes. So 800 grand a week. So if you rent that thing, like if you do below deck for 2 weeks with that yacht, it's probably a couple $1 million at least.
Did you just admit that you watched the reality show Below Deck?
I have to walk. I have to walk through my family room on my way to the man cave.
I'll admit this right now. That's the one reality show I sit down and watch.
It's pretty good.
It's hilarious.
Who's your favorite captain? Captain Sandy or Captain Lee?
I know it's the one from this newest season.
You're
Captain
paying attention more
Captain
than you
Carey.
are leading on here, Randall.
No, I like Captain Carey. I think might be my favorite because he's got the stern of Sandy and he's got kind of the boat daddy of Lee.
Okay.
So yeah, I think we go with Captain Carey.
Boat daddy.
That's what they call Captain
I do
Lee.
not know Captain. What, Carey?
Captain Carey. He's a cue balled Aussie.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to get on board with this.
He was this new season. It was fun.
Okay. I gotta get on board.
I had no idea.
Oh, Jesus.
Hey, great job today by our audio video engineer and producer Matthew Rocchio. Thank you, sir.
Great job by you, Randy.
Thank you, Danny.
Yeah, great job by you,
I'm a
Randy.
Canadian and I don't even know it.
What'd you say?
I said I got to get on board with this.
Oh,
and I had no idea.
Yeah, I told you I'm slowly morphing into your mind, and it's not a good place. Not a good place.
You've been awesome today.
You too, buddy. Always fun.
That's Dan. That's Matthew. I'm Randy. We thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show for all of us. Until tomorrow morning at 7, have a great hump day, St. Louis.
Bring your ass.